complete 4 topics. Sum of is not exactly a year. Hello and welcome to this discussion on international relations. Okay, so there are many topics which are important, and in fact, so in fact, what I'm trying to do is I am trying to identify those topics which are likely to be asked in the exam. We are not going to cover all. See, for example, India, Bhutan, I am not going to talk. It's not required because no news about India, Bhutan, or maybe even India, Maldives. It may not be that, but I don't know. So we have to do some, what you call pick and choose thing. So, but Nepal is important, Bangladesh is important, Sri Lanka is very important. So that is very clear. With China, yes, some of these issues are important, but again, since it is too hot, I don't know whether China will be asked also. So, idea is to pick and identify. I am not claiming that all these questions will automatically come, but if if you have seen the previous year questions from international bilateral, we have 4 questions, only 4 questions. So, 2 questions are of 12.5 marks each, that will become 25, and that is 250 words you will have to write, and 2 questions of 10 marks, that means 150 words. So that is a 4, and if luck permits, one more question will be there, that is 5. So if you add that way, 50 to 60 marks, yeah, 45 to 60 marks we can say. Plus, one advantage is there is always a possibility that there could be question on essay, because last year also we got something non-aligned movement. It was asked. I mean, it was twice. It was asked non-aligned movement, the relevance of things like that. Earlier, Indo-US, nuclear deal was asked. I mean, many years before. So Southeast Asia, a couple of times they have asked. So there is a possibility that when you do this, we can get a question in the essay also. If that comes, it's a bonus. Otherwise, but advantage is if you get such questions, one big advantage is this is more factual. So writing an essay will be much more easier and better for you. Okay. So anyway, so this is the idea. And as I told you, I'll be picking up topics, and my aim is if I pick a topic, then you should not miss a question in that, rather than touching and going. Just by saying that India, Nepal is not sufficient, then various angles of that we'll be covering. So first topic I would like to talk today is about the WHO, because WHO is so much in news, and one institution is always asked. I mean, generally if you look WHO, WTO, okay, now this year International Court of Justice is important, PCA is important, that Permanent Court of Arbitration. So I'll be picking up that. So I thought, and then United Nations itself is very important, because 75 years of United Nations. So the first topic I would like to talk is WHO. So the question, the first question is about, you can see that. So WHO, about that, give a brief about WHO, discuss the contributions of WHO in handling, various health emergencies in the world. Okay. So that is the one which I am thinking, a brief about WHO, discuss the contributions of WHO in handling various health emergencies in the world. Okay. So in fact, this is a possible question, we can safely say, because the way things are there right now, about WHO itself can be a question. Okay. So if it is a straightforward question without any politics involved in it, then this is a simple question. So let us talk some. See, the idea is, if it is a 250 word question or a 150 word question, so 250 words means around 9 to 10 sentences you will have to write. 150 words means 7 to 8 sentences you have to write, and in that, one introduction, one conclusion. So everything has to be there. So these kind of institutions, you can always, standard introduction can be, is one of the most important institutions in the world. Like that also you can add. You can think of such things, So just coming to this particular thing. First of all, I said, one second, WHO. So about WHO we are talking. The first point is WHO is a specialized agency. Okay. One second. So WHO is a specialized agency of United Nations. Specialized. And responsible for international public health. It is responsible for international public health. That is one thing. And as you know, the objective, if you look at the objectives of the WHO, the attainment by all people of highest possible level of health. All people, attainment of all people, highest possible level of health. Highest possible level of health. So one of the aim, that is one of the core aims. And then where is WHO located? Where is it located? Headquarters? Geneva, Switzerland. Please don't forget, because it is located in Geneva, then Switzerland. And it has 6 semi-autonomous, regional offices. 6 semi-autonomous regional offices. And the World Health Day, 7th April 1948. 7th April is the World Health Day. 7th April 1948 is the World Health Day. Or rather, it is the day in which WHO was constituted. So 7th April is the World Health Day also. And some of the achievements, if you look at the WHO, tremendous achievements, no doubt, regarding this eradication of smallpox. I mean, always, talk about one of the achievement is smallpox. Then near eradication of polio. Okay, near eradication of polio. Then development of vaccines for Ebola virus, Ebola vaccine. These are some of the achievements we can say, and also, they are fighting against the communicable diseases like AIDS, malaria, tuberculosis. I mean, a lot of work by WHO, absolutely no doubt, and even non-communicable diseases. So, communicable diseases, work is going on AIDS, Ebola, malaria, tuberculosis. I mean, there is the frontline agency for the world. Even non-communicable diseases like cancer, a healthy diet, even nutrition, all these, a lot of work about food security, occupational health, one area of great interest by WHO is occupational health. Okay, and substance abuse, another very interesting area, substance abuse. WHO is also putting a lot of effort on the substance abuse. Then the 1978 Alma-Ata Declaration, okay, which is, as far as WHO is concerned, 1978 Alma-Ata Declaration is still considered to be the Magna Carta for health for the world. Alma-Ata Declaration is known as the Magna Carta for health. Okay, and it has come out with the Framework Convention on Tobacco Control, a framework convention on tobacco control. This is the first and the only global treaty under WHO. Framework Convention on Tobacco Control is the first and the only global framework against the tobacco. Okay. Also, there is an international health regulation for pandemics. They come out with, even before corona pandemic, there is an international health regulation. Which is which are the concrete steps for making the world safer from pandemics, which is called international health regulation. That is what our WHO came up. So, it is also, WHO focuses on the multi-sectoral approach. WHO focuses on multi-sectoral approach. Okay. In fact, let me see the question once again. I give a brief about WHO. So, we have to talk something, so naturally we are talking about the brief. So, some of the achievement, the contributions of WHO in handling various health emergencies in the world. So, we are talking about what are the contributions also. So, that is how, every time, one very important thing about main answer writing is, you should always look at the question. Every now and then, while writing the answer also, you should just go back and see what is the question, because likhte we forget what is the question, and you write something and then later on we realize that, okay, oh, this is not what was asked, then it will be too late for us. So, in fact, I will suggest that after every 2 sentences, you please look into the question. So, that is why even I want to look, so that am I going away, because it's very easy to talk about something about the WHO, but finally if you are not talking about what is asked. Okay. So, that is a point once again. So, then as far as the one big issue, which was one controversy which was there right now, was regarding the finance of the WHO. In fact, you might have heard that Donald Trump talked about, and he will cancel the finance of WHO. Okay. So, this WHO relies on contributions from the member states. They rely on contributions from the members. So, as far as the finance is concerned, contribution from the member states. It is then even private funding and private donor funding. So, member states plus private donor funding, both are there. Okay, private donor funding is there, then of course the member state funding is there. And in 2018, just for your information, 2018, the total budget of WHO was around $4.2 billion. $4.2 billion. And in 2019, it was around $5.6 billion. So, depending upon the various activities which are there. and the contributions are assessed for the, as far as the states are concerned, member states are concerned, by formula that include GDP per capita. So contributions are assessed by a formula. Contributions are assessed by a formula which include the GDP per capita, GDP per capita. And the controversy, since the finance was the controversy, what is the US contribution? US is the biggest contributor, USA 15.9%. So it's good, quite good amount. And not only that, if you add Bill Gates contribution also, because Bill Gates is also American citizen, he is contributing 9.4%. Just see, kitna acha aadmi hai. Bill Gates, 9.4% of the total, that's if you take 10%, you're talking about around 500 million, more than 500 million is the contribution by Bill Gates alone. And then European Union, 11%. So he is almost equal to European Union. And China, bada baat karta hai, 0.2%. Okay, 0.2% only. China is going to, but the problem with China is, or why China's role is more, because when the elections took place in 2017, and China played a crucial role in getting the present team getting elected, especially the Tedros Adhanom. Okay, he got elected mainly because of the backing of the Chinese group, or other China and the associated countries. Okay, so the present Director General, is Tedros Adhanom. Okay, Ghebreyesus Adhanom. Okay, Tedros Adhanom. He is from Ethiopia. He was a former health minister and foreign minister of Ethiopia. And he began his 5-year term from 1st July 2017. Okay, so he will be there till 22. And so he, China played a very crucial role in the election of Tedros Adhanom as the Director General. That is why WHO was accused, when it was accused, and why WHO was a bit soft towards China. The reason was that not because of the Chinese money. China is contributing only 0.2%, but the difference is who helped him in getting that, the team. And we have our, our Saumya Swaminathan, Dr. Saumya Swaminathan. She was the Deputy Director General, but recently she was shifted as the Chief Scientist at WHO. Otherwise, she was number 2. There are 3 Deputy Director Generals were there. One of them were Saumya. Now she is the Chief Scientist. Just India can be a bit. That is the reason why every now and then we are able to call Saumya Swaminathan for the TV debates. Okay, she is Indian. She is the daughter of MS Swaminathan. Great. I mean, the daughter is bigger than father now. That's what everybody is saying. Okay, but some people had this doubt whether her shifting as the Chief Scientist, removing her as the Deputy, the Director General, is it a promotion or a demotion? There is some confusion. But this Chief Scientist post was newly created. So it is still believed that she is number 2. Okay, still, because Chief Scientist is a big post, and she is otherwise a pediatrician as a clinical scientist. Okay, mainly she was a pediatrician. She was from, worked in AIIMS also. So well known, very well respected, doctor, no doubt regarding that. So most of the countries, as far as the pandemics or even the health related issues, especially the developing countries, WHO is still giving the guidelines and guidance, and WHO plays a very crucial role. So this question, I'm sure, brief about, discuss the contributions in various issues. I think we can easily answer if this is only a general question, but we need to know something. So that is why I have put. Now coming to the second one, how? The second question is, discuss the need for a WHO-like organization during a pandemic. Now the issue is, I mean, do we really need? I mean, when the question came, that Americans will stop funding. Some people said, wind up WHO. Do you think WHO responded to the COVID-19 effectively? And what is the steps, or what is the role of WHO in all these things? That is what we are talking. So definitely, there is no doubt that, we need an organization like this. In fact, we need a stronger organization, not a weaker organization. There are problems, but there are problems does not mean that we should wind up this organization, as American president was suggesting. He was suggesting only because he wanted to hide his failures, and he wanted to blame. Yes, WHO also failed, but American president's failure is much bigger than the WHO's failure. That's the truth. But he wanted to hide. That is why, and he was trying to say all these things. But anyway, and now let us see what is that our situation. So what is the next is this. So this during this pandemic, WHO continuously monitored. I mean, as far as the pandemic situation is concerned, WHO continuously monitored the evolution of the pandemic, no doubt regarding that, and the assessment. Most of the time, I will say most part of the time, the WHO assessments were balanced, independent, and transparent. Most of the time, the WHO assessment was balanced, independent, and transparent. Maybe in the initial part, WHO also failed, no doubt regarding this. They believed too much the Chinese version. That is why the problems were there. Okay, so even now, WHO. What is the role of WHO in all these things? Now, what is the role in the global role right now? What is the global role of WHO right now? Number one is helping countries to prepare and respond. Helping countries to prepare and respond. So, to ensure that the patients are getting the right kind of protocol. Okay, WHO is coming up with the right kind of protocol. What should be the protocol for a patient? The protocol, then how to get the essential supplies for the frontline workers, what all should be given to the frontline workers. Then also they concentrate on the research and development, and of course, how to ensure that the treatment is available to all. So the preparing and responding to the problem, prepare and respond to the problem is the WHO's responsibility. Number two is providing accurate information, busting dangerous myths, especially in our social media, providing accurate information. Because when WHO says something, we have to believe. But that is where the problem also came. When WHO initially did not say that it is a human to human transmission is taking place, when WHO failed to tell it at the right time, that is where the question mark about the reliability of WHO also came. So otherwise, 99% of the time, WHO provides accurate information. It can burst the myths and the false propaganda, especially in the social media these days, because social media is very dangerous. You know it very well, right? And they are giving the accurate information. So the most reliable information. And number three, we can say ensuring the supplies are reaching. Okay, the supply of medicine, then kits reach across the world. See, during this corona pandemic, at least WHO supplied at least 4 million PPEs and all PPE kits to 126 countries. They could dispatch to 126 countries, because especially the poorer countries, the whatever supply they had, it was from the WHO, and they ensured that there is a UN COVID-19 supply chain task force under WHO now. There is a UN COVID-19 supply chain task force. Okay, UN COVID-19 supply chain task force. So it is able to, because of this, it is able to dramatically increase the supply of vital kits, medicine, wherever possible, whatever is required. Okay, so essential items they are able to provide, no doubt regarding this. And also training and mobilization of the health workers. The fourth point is training and mobilization of health workers. And number 5, the search for a vaccine. Search for a vaccine. Yeah, even with the vaccine, they may not be giving the certificate and all, but definitely they will be talking about the protocols. I mean, what is to be done and what are the minimum standards required, especially the trial which is there. WHO also will have to approve a certain the protocol. That is very important when it comes to vaccine. Or if at all, for example, Russia is talking about a vaccine right now. So, but WHO may not approve that easily. So WHO will say this is nonsense. This is not a vaccine. It's like our Patanjali vaccine. Okay, so it will be very dangerous, So we should be. So anyway, so these are the 5 areas where WHO is playing a role. It will play a role. It has to play a role for the future also. Now coming to why WHO failed to stop this pandemic. And if you may be asking this question: if everything is so fine, why WHO failed to stop the pandemic? Then it should not have been a pandemic in the first place when WHO is there with all these ideas. See, first of all, WHO is desperately struggling to get all the 194 members follow the guidelines and guidance. Okay, now because they cannot implement anything. It should follow, the members should follow the guidance. The members should be accepting and following the guidance. That is the first thing. Unfortunately, what is happening is the members are not doing what they are supposed to do. So if the members follow the guidance, then only we can do something. Unfortunately, that is not happening. Many a times, members have their own, protocol and vested agenda. So that's a problem. And moreover, the WHO has little power to implement their guidelines. WHO has no power or very little power to implement their guidelines. And also, we can say that the present setup, the administrative setup of WHO is not to succeed. I mean, rather the setup is such that they may not be in a position to implement things. And without political leadership, most important thing is, any organization can succeed only if the political leadership, is clear and supportive. Now, whether it is climate change, is it a scientific problem or a political problem? Today, climate change is a political problem because political leaders should understand. WHO cannot do anything independently unless the political leadership takes it that right spirit. See, the most powerful nation of the world, if the US president is not believing in scientific advice, then what can we expect from others? So the problem is, there is a political vacuum. That political leadership vacuum, or that global leadership is missing. Global leadership is missing. And that is why WHO could not do beyond a point. That is a very important point. And these days everything is aggressive nationalism. And this is a new normalized world. That is what everybody is saying. This aggressive nationalism, even American President Donald Trump is only talking about how to provide medicine to or vaccine to Americans. He is always talking about, I will provide, I have taken this medicine, or I survived. So, I will protect, this is, everything is, this is an aggressive nationalism. See, the problem is with the aggressive nationalism. Aggressive nationalism. Even in India, we are talking about Atmanirbhar Bharat. I mean, it's okay. Atmanirbharta is okay. So, in the 2 days before, I think Arvind Subramaniam has written an article in Hindu where he is saying that this nationalism will not protect. Atmanirbhar Bharat cannot substitute export. Export has to be there. And if India has grown after 1991 substantially in the last 30 years, it is mainly because export growth was more than 10%. And that is where economic growth became 7-8%. Now, if you are not concentrating on export, then what will happen? So, this aggressive nationalism is having misplaced priorities. Misplaced priorities, and this is killing any global effort to control this kind of a pandemic. Okay, so any previous rules about the global norms, public health, or understanding of what is expected and all, it's completely crumbled. Whatever previous norms were there, whatever previous norms or understanding or what is considered to be a moral, ethical stand, everything has crumbled today. So the failure today, if we could not control this pandemic, it is not WHO's failure, it is the failure of the political leadership. Had Americans or some of the leaders of the world, especially the US and the European Union, stood up and said that let us do like this, let us listen to WHO properly. Had they been taking up a stand, things would have been much different. This pandemic would have been in a different trajectory altogether. So this pandemic today is more because of a political failure rather than the failure of WHO. So coming back to our question, so do you think WHO responded to the COVID-19 effectively? So WHO's response was limited, or rather the role of WHO beyond a point we may not be able to do much because there was no backing from the political leadership. So if the failure of the WHO is mainly because of lack of political support and political leadership rather than lack of what you call scientific ideas. Scientific ideas they had. Of course, it was an evolving pandemic. So what was thought in the beginning, we had to review many things. Initially, it was thought that mask may not be that useful. Later on, WHO said that yes, mask is useful. Initially, WHO did not say that human-to-human contact and transmission is taking place. Then they had to change it. So many things. Or even otherwise, also, initially we thought that it's more of a more ICUs will be required. Now we are realizing that ICU is not an issue. So many things have changed. So it's an evolving pandemic. WHO is trying to respond to that, but the bigger failure is lack of political support and political leadership. That is what I would like to say in this. Okay, so now we can talk about this. Now coming to the next question. Yeah, see, we had even Barack Obama or Bill Clinton, or all these leaders, they have taken up when the global issues came, they have forgotten their American interests first, and they were talking about the global interest. But that situation has not come in this. Now, finally, one more question. I mean, this is more political. That the WHO should not be a plaything for the great powers. In light of the present COVID-19 pandemic, what needs to be done? So, many people, because the US-China conflict we are talking, WHO should not be a plaything for the great powers. Discuss in light of the present COVID-19 pandemic and what needs to be done. Okay, so in fact, many things I have already said, but let me just add to this point now. And in fact, in April, once the corona pandemic, was finally full on across the world, President Donald Trump declared that the United States will stop funding of WHO. US will stop. And I have already said the US is contributing almost 15%. So that's a substantial amount. And in fact, according to many experts, this US ploy is to distract the world from the US administration's failure to prepare for the COVID pandemic, to distract the world from the US administration's failure in preparing for the pandemic. Absolutely no doubt regarding this. And it's also true. Now, definitely, as I told earlier also, it is also true that there are some failures from WHO also. We cannot absolve and say that WHO has done everything the way it was required. WHO also failed, and the first big failure is in fact, as I was mentioning, the way the WHO setup is there in 2017. China played a very crucial role in the election of the present leadership of WHO. Absolutely no doubt. In 2017, China played a very crucial role in the election of the present leadership. And, so WHO tried to, in the initial year or initial days, WHO, it seems, tried to protect the Chinese interest a bit. And had WHO been a bit more open or rather if forthcoming, this pandemic might have been, I mean, there could have been a possibility of controlling into localized a few areas. That is what many experts are, in the hindsight, they are saying there could have been, maybe like, the SARS and other diseases which we could control to a local area. This could have been done had WHO been a bit more proactive in the beginning. In fact, even on 14th January 2020, WHO insisted and even tweeted and said that there is no clear evidence of human-to-human transmission in Wuhan. Okay, that is 14th January 2020 tweet by WHO saying that no clear evidence. No clear evidence of human-to-human transmission. When already the disease has reached Thailand. Okay, this is after a person in Thailand got contracted with this, pandemic, COVID, and it was very clear that that person has not gone to any, what you call the market or anything. So it was very clear that it was human-to-human contact. This person who reached Thailand, when it was confirmed that it's COVID-19, and that person had no history of visiting any Wuhan market, the meat market or anything. So that is quite clear. Even then, WHO said that no, it is not. There is, in fact, the funniest thing was Taiwan and Hong Kong both did not follow the WHO instruction at that time. Taiwan stopped, they closed the borders. Even Hong Kong had put strict vigil on the entry of people. They started screening people coming into Hong Kong. Despite WHO said everything is okay. So, and another funny thing was that Taiwan started, increasing its production of the mask. Mass production of masks started in Taiwan even before WHO said that, mask can protect. When WHO is saying mask, there is no evidence to suggest that mask can protect people from, transmitting this disease. Taiwan started production already. Because why Taiwan did and Hong Kong did? Because they did not believe WHO. They completely ignored WHO and they went ahead with it. That is why even today, Taiwan and Hong Kong are some of the success stories in controlling, even Vietnam for that matter. They are all success stories in controlling the pandemic. And they did because they had the experience of the 2003 SARS pandemic, SARS, spread. So they had good experience of this. So they worked on their intuition rather than worked based on what WHO said. So this is where, the WHO has failed to an extent, we can say, because they could have, WHO could have, even when China was saying that, everything is normal, it is not a human-to-human transmission, WHO could have demanded an access to Wuhan and to find out what is going on, or even that, that whistleblower, that doctor who died subsequently. So when he was in jail, so WHO could have been asking for some access to that doctor also. WHO did not do that. So this is where WHO has failed, we can say. And only on 22nd January, WHO admitted that there can be human-to-human transmission. And only in mid-March, WHO admitted that this is a pandemic. By this time, 114 countries already had one or other patient. It is too late for WHO to declare a pandemic. By the time WHO declared a pandemic, 114 countries already got at least one patient. And at least 4,000 deaths were there already. After 4,000 deaths and contracting this disease reporting this disease in 114 countries, WHO finally said that it is a pandemic. So, in fact, even the first in a known case in US was only on 21st February. Okay, US had the maximum time. So, if they wanted, if the American leadership was really, strong, they could have easily done it. So, there were in the initial days, definitely WHO could have done better, and had they been very active, maybe we could have even stopped this pandemic. That is what many experts are saying. So, coming to the final analysis of whatever has happened, this is the, the actual facts. First of all, WHO failed because this institution is not designed to be independent. See, first of all, it is WHO is not designed to be independent. The first reason is this: it is not designed to be independent, and it is subject to the whims and fancies of those donors, as well as the way it chooses the leader. Okay, the WHO is a prisoner of donors and the way the leader is elected. China could play a big role because Adhanom was elected with the support of Chinese. So naturally, and so had there been now the third point I would like to say is, had there been a proper leadership, which is missing right now, the trajectory of this pandemic would have been totally different. Had there been a proper leadership, the trajectory would have been totally different. See, even a person like Narendra Modi could have been really powerful and useful, but unfortunately, our Prime Minister's problem is his advisors are like that. Wrong advices are given to him. Otherwise, no other country was more willing to even put a clamp down. We had a complete clamp down. See, that is a very bold step. See, if our Prime Minister is given the right kind of advices, he can be the most effective Prime Minister. But unfortunately, demonetization. Some people advise something and he went ahead with that. See, otherwise, nobody will dare to do this. So, that means what? He has the guts. We should appreciate that. Trump and all, they are not bothered about that. So, he took a step. He said Mahabharata was fought in 18 days, or he won the 18 days. He said we will win this Mahabharata in 21 days. So, idea was good, but advices were not correct. Anyway, so that trajectory would have been totally different had there been proper leadership. But leadership also required right kind of advices, not like Trump's. Trump has so many advisors, but he is not believing those advisors. That Fauci, okay. So that doctor is there, but what is the use? But he is not following him. So but we don't have anybody. That's a problem. Anyway, so the transparency was missing in the handling in the initial days. A lot of opaqueness, no transparency as far as China is concerned. But this does not mean that WHO is not required, or defunding or stopping the funding is not the solution. Also, a pandemic is to be contained globally. There needs to be a leadership, and we should be fighting it out. We need to support WHO like organization. That is what is required. So, what is the final conclusion? So, the final conclusion is both China and USA has failed this world. Okay. Final conclusion from my side is both China and USA failed this world, because we expected a lot from US. They did not took the right decision, right leadership. China fudging the data, manipulating, it has actually allowed this epidemic to become a pandemic. And somebody should take the lead. Even now, somebody should take the lead. Even now, because we are in the midst of a pandemic, should take the leadership. Even now, if somebody can take up the leadership and do something, the world, it can be a better world. And a coordinated effort even now can change the world situation. See, maybe UN can take a leadership, but UN is not even doing anything. Even G20, at least G20, these are 90% of the world's wealth is here in the G20 countries. If G20 countries take a leadership, it can also be done. So, a coordinated effort, and even a coordinated effort for vaccine, which is missing right now. No coordinated effort for vaccine can also change the trajectory, can change the the pandemic trajectory. So, but we always say that the ultimate victim is the poor of the world. That is what we generally say. But there is a slight change in this. This time, even the rich, Spain, Italy, US, more than 2 lakh people already died. 2,10,000 people already died. So, for a change, this time even the rich from Europe and USA got suffered. And this is only because of this brazen and foolish policy, foolish ultra-nationalism being, propounded by Trump and company. Okay, that's only because of that lack of leadership. And Donald Trump is single-handedly responsible for this many deaths in US. And there is no doubt regarding, if Americans cannot understand even now, God only save America. Okay, and nobody will be able to save. If they cannot understand this even now, this will be a tragedy. Okay, so anyway, so that is the situation as far as the WHO is concerned. Okay, so now let me come to another topic. So let us move into another one, that is on India-Nepal relations. Okay, India-Nepal relations. So the first, there are many angles. So let me first talk about the various steps taken by India in improving India-Nepal bilateral relations. Do you think these steps are helping in achieving that? Okay, so the steps taken in improving India-Nepal bilateral relations. Let me talk about the present scenario. So the idea behind this question is, if it is a general innocent question, let us talk about that. Then we will see the problems in the border and things like that. Okay. So now, first of all, if you look at the the issue with Nepal, the Prime Minister Modi, after he came to power in 2014, he visited Nepal 4 times already. Prime Minister Modi visited 4 times, and the last visit was for the 4th BIMSTEC summit. 4th BIMSTEC summit in August 2018. 4 times he already visited. And the Nepal's Prime Minister, now who has an absolute majority and not only absolute, 2/3 majority in the parliament, and KP Sharma Oli. The Nepal Communist Party has 2/3 majority in the parliament. Okay, KP Sharma Oli. He was part of the the dignitaries who were invited for the swearing in ceremony, and the BIMSTEC leaders were invited, and he was here in Delhi 31st May 2019. So naturally, and then so the high level visits are there, no doubt regarding this. And also Nepal has recently participated in the Surya Kiran that the military exercise in December, okay, December 2019, Surya Kiran. And also, as you know, the army chief is visiting Nepal in the first week of November. And army, there is a honorary, he is also the general of Nepali army. And the Nepal's army chief is the honorary general in Indian army. So that is a big, I will say, acknowledgement of each other. Okay. So the army chief is the honorary general of Nepal army, and Nepali army chief is the honorary general of Indian army. So that is something, not many armies we give that, post. And Gorkha regiment in India, which is a British system which we started, which has 32,000 Nepali soldiers, 32,000, approximately 32,000 Nepali soldiers, and every year we are recruiting around 2,000 Nepali citizens into Gorkha regiment every year. Okay, so that is a big thing. And after the 2015 earthquake, India offered almost $1 billion, $250 million aid and $750 million soft credit. $1,250 million aid and $750 million soft credit we have offered. And we are upgrading the border also with the 10 roads in the Terai region. We are upgrading that, and rail link we are talking. Integrated checkposts. We are opening new integrated checkposts, no doubt. And in 2019-20, our total assistance to Nepal was 1,200 crores. 19-20, total assistance, that means the free money, assistance is 1,200 crore rupees. So, it's not a small amount. And also, other than that, we are extending a line of credit of $1.65 billion. Line of credit. Line of credit means soft loan. Okay, line of credit means soft loan. And Nepal has a serious shortage of electricity. We are supplying around 600 megawatts of electricity right now to Nepal. Nepal has serious shortage of electricity, and 600 megawatts of electricity India is supplying. Of course, we are charging, but we are supplying it. And also, recently we have inaugurated the first cross-border petroleum product pipeline. First cross-border petroleum product pipeline. First cross-border petroleum product pipeline by Indian Oil Corporation. It is from Motihari to Amelganj. Okay, from Motihari in India to Amelganj. AMLEKH, Amelganj. Okay. So, that is inaugurated by both the Prime Ministers in September 2019, Motihari to Amelganj in September. Please remember the oil blockade. I mean, the trucks were blocked, and also at that time, had this pipeline been there, this blockade would not have been there. And also, we are starting a strategic, rail line from Raxaul to Kathmandu. Okay. So, India has already proposed, and we are planning to construct from Raxaul to Kathmandu, rail line. So, it is possible. It is not like the Chinese rail line, it will be much more difficult, but ours is possible. But obviously, the political will should be there, then only it can happen. And also, a direct bus service between Janakpur to Ayodhya. Both are, religious places, Janakpur to Ayodhya bus service. Okay. So, many such steps are being taken, and also recently Nepal has awarded a 900 megawatt Arun 3 hydro project to an Indian company, Arun 3 HEP on Arun river. Okay, 900 megawatt to that Satluj Jal Vidyut Nigam Limited, Jal Vidyut Nigam Limited, SJVNL. Satluj Jal Vidyut Nigam Limited. Okay, so many projects are there. As far as the bilateral trade is concerned, that is also in the upswing. The bilateral trade in 18-19 has crossed $8 billion. 2018-19, $8.27 billion. And India's export, India to Nepal, that is 7.76, and Nepal to India, of course, it is only 0.52. Okay, so not even 52, 0.51. Okay, that means 500 million only. So, Nepal is not able to export much, but India is exporting 7. And as we know, the total trade volume of Nepal, 64% of the trade with the rest of the world is with India. 64% of Nepal's trade is with India? 64%. Okay. And we have 20 entry and exit points. We were supposed to, as per international law, we are supposed to have only 2 in a transit points. We have 20 transit points. And 1800 kilometer long boundary with India. Okay, more than 1800 kilometers. Okay, Nepal shares 1400 kilometers with China, just for your information. And they have 2, transit points they also have. And then India right now almost 30% of all foreign direct investment in Nepal is from India, around 30% of FDI in Nepal by India. And Government of India is providing almost 3000 scholarships for Nepali citizens in India at higher education, PhD, masters, bachelors, in all level, more than 3000 scholarships are provided. So, a series of steps. So, the question is, various steps improving India-Nepal relation. Do you think it is going to help? That we can answer a bit later. Okay, that we can add. But these are the steps taken, or so many steps, so many provisions we are doing. We are trying right from the way, with our historic relationship, we have a cultural relationship, we have a religious relationship, geographical, monsoonal, everything you can say. But still, our relationship with Nepal is not so good. That is what we will be seeing one by one. But definitely, there are so many steps. Prime Minister, we are trying of late, especially we are struggling. We are trying, but things are not falling in place that easily because of many missteps also we have taken. So anyway, some of the steps taken. Now, coming to the border dispute, and this is about the new border dispute is a major irritant between India and Nepal, no doubt. Okay, so this new border dispute is a major irritant between India and Nepal. What is the way forward? Okay. So I'll be talking about the previous question, whether it is helping to improve, we will get to know automatically. You can always add that. Right. So, one second. So, the issue is related to that northwestern part, and as you know, this is that Kalapani, then Limbiadhura and Lipule. Okay. So, this area what is shown here is 335 square kilometers. Okay. Now, the problem is we say that Kalapani is in India, or rather as per the original British India Nepal Sugauli agreement of 1816, it was said that Kali is the boundary, Kali is the westernmost. Now, the dispute is regarding the origin of Kali, and some of the maps, or rather initially the Britishers talked about the Kali river begins south of Kalapani. But Nepal is disputing that. They are taking one of the smaller branches of the Kali river. They say that is the original Kali's origin, and they are saying that this is starting from Limbiadhura. Okay. So, Limbiadhura, and that is why the issue. So, Nepal says the boundary should be like this because that is where the river is originating. Okay. So, anyway, so I will be just coming to that. So, this is just for your understanding this photograph. You may not have to draw it, I mean, in the exam, but still definitely. So, now how this when the problem started. So, the border dispute, what is the chronology first? First of all, the chronology started in November 2019, when India published a new map after the bifurcation of Jammu and Kashmir. Okay, so the Survey of India published a new map after the bifurcation, in which this particular area was already there, where even this Kalapani region, okay, this Kalapani region and the valley of Kalapani to Lipule region, that was also clearly shown as part of India. Okay, so that is how the whole thing started. And the second point of discord subsequently was in May 2020, India inaugurated an 80-kilometer road reaching Lipule. See, it is under our control only. This Lipule pass, it is still under our control. We are holding this territory, no doubt regarding this. But Nepal is claiming it is fully under the control of India. Indian army is there. So, we have inaugurated a road reaching Lipule. So, especially this is the road also for the Kailash Manasarovar Yatra. And now, earlier this 80-kilometer road was not there. The people had to trek to reach Lipule Pass. So, from there further trekking. So, now you can reach Lipule Pass without trekking, they can reach by road. So, this was inaugurated, which is part of the Mansarovar project, okay, for the what you call the pilgrimage. Now, if you look at the dispute, or rather why this issue, and then because of this particular issue, the Nepal reacted after in May 20th, on 20th of May, the Nepali Parliament adopted a new map. Nepali Parliament adopted a new map showing this Limbiadhura as part of Nepal. And on 22nd of May, Nepal passed a constitutional amendment. Nepal passed a constitutional amendment showing this 335 square kilometers as part of the Nepali territory. Okay, constitutional amendment as part of the Nepali territory. This was never done, and in the last 170 years of history, Nepal never officially showed this. In the last 170 years, Nepal never showed it, but now they have shown. Okay, or even more than that, maybe we can say. So that is how then. And what is the history behind the whole thing? A couple of points I would like to add. The history is the Treaty of Sugauli. (1816). Kali River was declared as the westernmost, or Kali River is the westernmost end of Nepal, or Nepal begins from Kali River or toward the east. So the dispute is related to the origin of Kali. In fact, initially there was a confusion. Subsequent British survey maps have shown that the origin of Kali as just below Kalapani. Okay, origin of Kali as just below Kalapani. But now Nepal says it is Limbiadhura, that one of the tributaries of Kali is starting from Limbiadhura. And Nepal claims that is the original, or Kali is the origin. So, but India says a ridge line to Kalapani from this Lipule should be the boundary. That is what India was saying, but now India is saying the whole valley also is part of it. Okay, so we are claiming the whole thing. If Nepal is saying we hum bhi nahi chhod rahe, we are also not leaving. We are saying the whole valley also. Okay, so this is how that has been made. Now, what is the how the issue has started? Now, how the beginning of the problem? The beginning. First of all, in 1996, So till 1996 there was no major issue. In 1996 when we signed the treaty, Mahagali Treaty, we have signed the Mahagali Treaty. Of course the treaty is there, nothing has happened after that. And this is the origin of the Kali issue came up because of the Mahagali Treaty. This came up in 1997. 1996 we signed the Mahagali Treaty between India and Nepal for almost 8,000 megawatts of power supply, and many things were there. But it has not been implemented even today, but that was there. So now what is the Nepali claim about the whole thing? It's very clear. Nepal is saying India should respect this treaty of Sugauli. And also there was a Naya Muluk Treaty in 1860. Naya Muluk Treaty of 1860. And and a supplementary treaty in 1875, supplementary treaty in 1875, which clearly shows this Lipule, Kalapani and this Limpiadura all belong to Nepal. Okay, so Lipule to Limpiadura, that 335 square kilometers as part of Nepal. That's what they are saying. And also Nepal says till 1962, because it is an open border, Nepal used to take the census, or till 1962 the population and the census and all, census was taken by Nepal. So Nepal used to take census in this region also. And the third point Nepal is always asking is, before the 1962 war, okay, with China, India-China war, India requested Nepal, or India requested Nepal to allow 17 Indian checkposts in Nepal. 17 Indian checkposts. Okay, before the 1962 war, India requested Nepal to allow India to have 17 Indian checkposts. And after the war in 1969 or so, India withdrew 16 out of 17 except the Lipule. Okay, India withdrew 16 out of 17 except the Lipule checkpost, or Lipule and the Kalapani checkpost was not removed. 16 out of 17 we withdrew. So the Nepali argument is, if it is India's territory right from the beginning, if there is no confusion, why did you take the permission of Nepal while setting up? When the 17 checkposts were set up, Nepal did not say anything, they agreed. 16 withdrew. At that time also Nepal did not protest and all beyond a point, but still this issue was there. So Nepal's argument is, why you took permission if it is your territory? You would not have been telling also. And so that is where, and then we have subsequently we have set up a border commission also. Border commission resolved 98% of the border, except this 2% is this region. Okay, so that is how the 2% is yet to be settled. That is very clear. So that is how the border issue has come up. And but recently many other things also happened. There is a smear campaign by our Indian news channels also. For example, Nepal is very upset about the ZTV trying to link Nepali Prime Minister with the ambassador of China to Nepal. Okay, so that lady. So this was they were trying to have some relationship. ZTV is capable of doing everything. So they have done it. If you can murder Sushant Singh Rajput, anything can happen. Indian TV channels. So they tried that. So because of that, the Nepali cable TV and all, they became so upset that they banned all private news channels in Nepal except Doordarshan. Okay, that they, because Doordarshan never say anything, so there is no problem. So anyway, that is what it has been happening. So then we started accusing that Nepal is doing on behalf of China. So another accusation from one is some Indian news channels accused some other relationship. Another is Nepal or India accused Nepal that China is doing everything or China is provoking. Even Indian Army Chief also took a similar line. Indian Army Chief. Normally Army Chief, when it comes to Nepal, they used to keep very a neutral position because of the, what you call sensitive issue of the Gurkha, army men in India. But Indian army chief also took a very, similar tone that, China is instigating Nepal. And also, this, but if you look otherwise, Nepal had reservation about Libu Lake earlier also. For example, in 2015, during the Chinese Premier Li Keqiang's visit, okay, when Li Keqiang visited India, during that time, there was a border trade agreement between India and China through Lipu Lake. Okay, so India, it was agreed that India and China will have border trade at Libu Lake Pass, which Nepal protested at that time, saying that how can you have, trade when it is a disputed territory. So that issue was already there. So that means this Lipu Lake issue is not a new one. That's what Nepal is always saying. They have protested even before, and Nepal was protesting. So that is the situation as far as this Lipu Lake and this 335 square kilometers area is concerned. So now, what is the conclusion or the final comment? See, Lipu Lake Pass is, it is right from the beginning. It is a, what do you call that Mansarovar Yatra pass. I don't think otherwise there is any major strategic interest beyond that, because it's otherwise who is interested in going and confronting China right now. So that is only a technical thing right from the beginning. Otherwise, so the final comment I would like to say is it's a very small issue. This is a historic issue also. There was a dispute regarding the origin of Kali River. See, that is the issue. Nepal is not asking anything else. We have a different perception about from where Kali is originating. And no doubt, 1816 onwards, so it's not something we can question right now. Nepal is also saying, we are also saying, this Kali River is the boundary. Now, if there is a dispute, let us appoint a commission and let us discuss with Nepal. It is not a big thing, and it is not a big area also. See, 335 square kilometer means what? See, 10 kilometer long, 3 kilometer wide. How much it will come? Also 30, sorry, 30 into 30, okay, 30 into 10, okay. So 10 kilometer wide and 30 kilometer long. So that will be the whole thing. So it's not a big thing for a country like India, and we are not questioning. Nepal is our friend. Nepal is a very valuable, partner for India. We have historic relationship, and there is a small dispute on, and that too related to the origin of the river. And it's a small, a few kilometers. So we should have been settling this issue long before, rather than, prolonging it and not dealing with them. We should deal with Nepal. See, the issue is we should deal with them. And most importantly, a country like Nepal, which is a small country, not even the size of an Indian state. So we should be sensitive to the sentiments of smaller neighbors. We cannot brush aside. We should treat Nepal as a sovereign country. We should treat Nepal as a sovereign country, and we should be sensitive towards the sentiments. If we can resolve our enclave issue with Bangladesh, we have resolved the enclave issue with Bangladesh. We have exchanged some territory. Why not we resolve it even if there is some exchange of territory, because Nepal is it will go a long way in protecting the sentiments of Nepal. So the question always the Nepal raises is, we are in a hurry to usurp territory, or we always do a big brother attitude and all. But now recently some changes, some recent steps we can say. One, in a couple of days before itself, I mean this October 14th, Nepal removed the defense minister. Defense minister has been removed. He was a vocal critic, the most vocal critic against India. He has been removed as a defense minister because Indian army chief is visiting. Before that, he has been removed. Another is Prime Minister Oli stopped the circulation of a school book, I mean 9 to 12th book, where the border and all, the new border was printed already, has stopped the circulation in September. And also, Prime Minister Oli, greeted Prime Minister Modi on his birthday, September 17. These are all signs of thawing of the relation, or Nepal wants to mend. Somehow we have to bring the relationship back. That is the meaning of it. So definitely they are also taking, and even India has, quite every now and then, at least privately, we have acknowledged that the 2015, that the economic blockade was a mistake, because if one reason it has completely destroyed India-Nepal relation is 2015 economic blockade, and we should not have been doing it. It is only for domestic political gains we did it, and we are paying for it. Just before the Bihar elections at that time, BJP was fighting a hard election in Bihar, and Janata Dal United, RJD, Congress, all were on the other side. The Mahagathbandhan was there. And the calculation by the political leader, the BJP political leadership at that time was that if you are standing for the Madeshis, it will have rich dividends in Bihar. They did not get any dividend also. In the process, we lost Nepal forever. That is what many political commentators are saying. That was a foolish decision. And moreover, another point is, now we are also hearing that some Chinese aggression and encroachment of Nepali territory in the Humla district in Nepal, even though both Nepal, China, all of them had denied such an aggression or rather such an assertion of some territory of Nepal. But in Indian TV channels, this is coming, even protest by the Nepalis were there, it seems. So there is some smoke. We don't know. Both Nepal and China both have refused, but maybe because of all these things, the Nepal is seeing that they have also stretched too much, and there was there was almost a split in the Nepali Communist Party, and the split between Oli and Prachand, the Maoist leader, Pushpa Kamal Dahal. In the peak of the anti-India sentiments in Nepal, there was almost a split in the Nepali Communist Party, and Oli almost lost his seat or his post. And again, there was a speculation in India that India is propping up this Pushpa Kamal Dahal. Maybe because of all these things, the leadership has decided that we should be they should be mending their ways. So this dispute is a major irritant, no doubt. The way forward is India will have to take the leadership, and India, this is not a big territory. It is a dispute related to the origin of the river. If the origin of if we can settle this issue, and if we can finally say that yes, this is the origin, and if it is in favor of Nepal, we should do that. See, with Bangladesh we have done, even with the maritime boundary. Please remember, when there is a dispute regarding the exclusive economic zone, 25,000 square kilometers of area, and we went to PCA, and the PCA verdict was in favor of Bangladesh. They got 19,000 square kilometers. We got only 6,000 square kilometers. We claimed 25,000. So that way, if we can give up that territory, the exclusive economic zone, we can definitely, the 335 square kilometers, it's not a big thing. So it is all about understanding and respecting the sentiments of Nepal also, if required. I am not saying we should give up. Let us appoint a commission. If required, let us go to PCA. Let the PCA decide what is the origin of this Kali River. Then if they say we should give up, what is the big deal? Nobody will question you. Anyway, so that is about it. And now another topic. Yeah. See, constitutional amendment and all is not this territory is not with them. Please understand. This territory is with India. We are controlling Lipule, we are controlling Kalapani, we are having all the territory. They are not going to, Nepal will not be able to fight and take away and all. Constitutional amendment and all, if there is a compromise, if there is a final agreement, they can always change it. That is not a big thing if they want. See, we have done a constitutional amendment to give territory to Bangladesh, the enclaves. We have done the constitutional amendment. Okay, when our ruling BJP did not have a majority in the Rajya Sabha, we could do. So if we can do, they can also do. That's not a big thing, right? Then the next question is, Kathmandu's relationship with Beijing has defied geopolitics and geography. Do you agree with this statement? If so, what needs to be done? So, why am I saying this? The general understanding in India is, the geography is such, the history is such, the culture is such, the religion is such that Nepal can never take any advantage of China because of the Himalayas, because of the Tibetan plateau. Ultimately, it is geography will not allow Nepal to take any advantage. So we are taking Nepal for granted, that Nepal has to be on their knees and they will be with us only. They cannot go anywhere. But things are changing. Technology can change. That is a point we should understand. So we have taken Nepal for granted for too long. So that is why I am saying that they have already defied. That is why most of the experts say we lost Nepal into the, we have handed over Nepal into the laps of China. That is what many people are saying. That there is some truth in that. So that is the point I would like to talk here. So whether we have lost it or not, that is what we are looking. See, first of all, please understand, Nepal is a perfect example of how much geography matters. Okay, see, how geography can play a very crucial role in defining a country's relationship or a country's future, how much geography matters. Nepal is a perfect example. Okay, how much geography matters? Nepal is a perfect example. And but now, as things are changing, even Himalaya is not a barrier. Is something we have to be very, very, it's very astonishing. That's what we should see. Okay, so because of technology. So the point here is technology can alter it. Okay, and the first point I would like to add in this is, China has already constructed its, the highest of the rail line from Beijing to Lhasa. Okay, they have already completed to Lhasa. China has already completed, and then they extended this Lhasa line to a place called Shigatse. They have already extended in 2014. They have, they have extended from Lhasa to Shigatse. Now, China has already promised Nepal that they will extend this from Shigatse to a place called Girong. Girong is just on the other side of the Great Himalayas. Okay, it is on the valley. So, it will be something like this. If this south of this is Nepal and this is Tibet, now Girong is here. Okay, so they will be able to see whether they will be able to cross this a tunnel and all. We don't know right now, but at least it is a few kilometers away from the Nepali border. So they will be able to reach. They will be terminating not far away from Nepali border. So that is possible. They are going to do. And one more point I would like to add is, they have, after the the oil the economic blockade in 2016, they have a transit agreement with China. Nepal has already signed a transit agreement with China, and so they can have access to the Chinese ports if required. Of course, it may not be that easy. We are not saying that it is easy. Even now, most of the goods, even from China, exported or to Nepal, is coming through Indian ports only. Okay, even now, the goods from China to Nepal is coming through Indian ports, but in 2017, okay, in 2017, 40% of the goods from China came directly through air or through the border post from China. 40% of Chinese goods reached Nepal. So 40% of Chinese goods reached Nepal directly. 60% through India. It's fine. Okay. So that means that is not a small thing. We should not be ignoring this, because they are able to buy land from Tibet or through air. Okay. Either through directly by land or through air. Okay. And the connectivity between Nepal and Beijing has dramatically improved. So in the last 10 years, from 14 flights to 98 flights, weekly flights, 14 to 98 flights. So connectivity is dramatically improving in the last 10 years. And Nepal's main income is through tourism, no doubt regarding this. And you will be surprised to know that in tourism, in a few years, more Chinese tourists will be there than Indian tourists in Nepal. Okay. And last year, that means 2018, Indian tourists, 2 lakhs. Okay. Indian tourists were approximately 2 lakhs. Chinese tourists, 1,50,000. And please understand, Chinese tourists have to travel maybe hours together in flight. They are not from the Tibet. Okay, they have to come from the eastern region, many hours of flight, whereas Indians can reach Nepal through a bus, even walk. We can walk down to Nepal, right? Then also we have only 2 lakh tourists in Nepal, whereas Chinese is already 1,50,000. So it is very clear, and when they are paying airfare and reaching, so it is not a small thing to talk about. So they are defying geography. As far as the technology, air travel, direct transportation, then even the rail line, even though, this Chinese, president has already said that they will have a direct rail connection to Kathmandu. They will say he will extend it to Kathmandu. Whether it is possible and all, it may take time, but at least they talked already. So if that happens, it is a big thing. So anyway, so that is one aspect. The second point is the technology and the internet, the role of internet in the financial aspect especially. Geography has been made redundant because of the internet and the electronic transfer of money. Electronic transfer. Earlier, a post office economy and all, we used to say the letter has to come, money order will come. Say now it has completely changed, you know it very well. And the Nepal is no more dependent on India for transfer of money. Not dependent on India for transfer of money. That is something very important. Okay. And they also have had, now they have already, linked China with a fiber network. Okay. Already Nepal, China fiber network is there. Fiber link. So that will reduce the connectivity problem. As far as the information connectivity and things like that, they have, they are very easily managed. And the third aspect is the cultural thing. Cultural aspect, and we were taken, that is where I think India has taken things a bit granted, because we know that Nepal is so linked to India, as far as the Hindu culture and things like that. So, but modern culture is always a mix of languages and cultures and everything, okay, and many a times we are taking it for granted. And but what is happening is now China is trying to exploit the Buddhist link. China is trying to exploit the Buddhist link, and uh, and culturally another big problem for India is we are even today unable to accept that Nepal is a sovereign country, is an independent country. Nepal is not an extension of India. Okay, Nepal is not an extension of India. We are unable to accept this reality. We are many a times we are talking as if Nepal is our chota bhai, younger brother. This is not. They are an independent country, and so this cultural connection is actually proving counterproductive for India because of our mindset. We are not able to treat Nepal as a separate country because of our mindset, because of our culture, because of the cultural link. It is true. So, this is, losing, or rather this is a negative point for India right now. So, China is trying to exploit the cultural link through Buddhism and things like that. China is, able to exploit the geography they are trying to defy by the connectivity, then internet. So, all these are ultimately resulting in, China able to leverage what we never thought, thought China can do. They are able to do it right now, and that is why I would like to say that if Beijing is defying the geopolitics and geography. What is the conventional wisdom of geopolitics? China is able to break it right now. So, this is something extraordinary which is happening. We have taken Nepal granted for too long, and we are paying the price. And we should be, we should treat Nepal as an independent country. That is very important. They are a sovereign country, and nationalism is no nation is big or small. I mean, that is in the feeling of the minds of the people. That spirit, that is what we have missed it. Okay, anyway, so that is about this. And another area is, yeah, I mean, I'll just come to that. See, the BRI thing, I would like, you can always add that. Nepal, China has that inkling also. Now, in this particular question, I would like to talk, what are the strategic calculations of both Nepal and China in expanding their bilateral engagement? What are they thinking? Strategic calculations of both Nepal and China in expanding their bilateral engagement with each other. So, in this point, let me talk a couple of things. As I already mentioned, after the economic blockade by India, the Nepal-China transit agreement 2016, okay, so signed a trade and transit agreement or treaty, so that Nepal can use the the Chinese facilities. And also, China is building an airport in Pokhara, okay, the $200 million Pokhara airport with soft loan from China, Then they are also opening the Lhasa Kathmandu road link, and they are talking about a rail link also. Okay, they are talking about a rail link also. Then in 2018, there was an investment summit in Nepal, and more than 60% of the $8.2 billion promised, it was from China. More than 60% of the $8.2 billion promised is from China in a 2018 investment summit. In 2017, the first ever joint military exercise between China and Nepal. Joint military exercise between China and Nepal. Joint military exercise between China and Nepal, which is called Sagarmatha Friendship 2017. Sagarmatha Friendship 2017. Then in October 2019, after our Chennai Connect, our Xi Jinping, October 2019, after India visit, Xi Jinping visited Kathmandu for a 2-day visit. 2-day visit. So, but the expected an extradition treaty between Nepal and China was not signed. Okay, there it was expected that they will be signing an extradition treaty between Nepal and China, not signed. Yeah, with like what is there with the Hong Kong. See, actually, why are they interested? Because the Tibetan refugees are there in Nepal, around 20,000 of them are there. So, any anti-China activity from Kathmandu, they want an extradition treaty so that they can, so refugees can be arrested and taken. But Nepal luckily did not sign, maybe under pressure from India, they did not sign. So, why? Now the question is, what is the Beijing's interest in Nepal, or what is China's interest in Nepal? That is the thing I would like to talk first. China's interest in Nepal. First of all, the this Tibet autonomous region, and at least 20,000 Tibetan exiles are here. Are in Nepal. So that is why China was very keen to have this extradition treaty, and also if Nepal is in good humor, the anti-China activities can be controlled. So first interest is anti-China activities can be controlled. Okay, anti-China activities can be controlled. So this is that is why China is pushing that extradition treaty also, as I already told, and they also feel that by having a friendly relation with China, they can contain India in South Asia. Okay, that contain India in South Asia policy, they can strengthen, so they can checkmate India. Okay, the Nepal, if it is with China, it will definitely they can checkmate India in this region. And number 3, definitely this will be a friendly Nepal, a big push for their BRI. Friendly Nepal, a big push for Belt and Road Initiative and many infrastructural projects, and where China can export their capital and labor, where China can export their capital and labor. Okay, big push for BRI. So even the railroad link from Lhasa to Kathmandu, or the Parliament building, which they are, even the National Defence University, China is promising a national defense university, then a parliament building. They don't believe in any democracy, but parliament building. Okay, China talking about parliament building, and also various other infrastructure projects. So, this can be a part of their BRI, Belt and Road Initiative, and China can export their capital and labor, which can boost the Chinese economy ultimately. And China has a lot of, I already mentioned in many places, they have plenty of foreign exchange reserve, so they can always. So, these are some of the interests of China in Nepal. Now, coming to Nepal's interest in China. Nepal's interest in China. First of all, any move to be friendly with China can, definitely, control India, or rather it can make, India more receptive to Nepali concerns. The way we are concerned right now about Nepal falling into the hands of China, the same thing for every Indian, every leader, we are all concerned about. So, Nepal knows that it can make India more receptive to the Nepali concerns, and this can, if China has money, the second point is China can invest, and Nepal is, one of the poorest countries in the world, and they expect some of the infrastructure projects to be completed, and Nepal knows that the vulnerabilities can be controlled a bit. Okay, Nepal is a landlocked country, they are vulnerable to Indian tactics and pressure, and Nepal knows that this, this China move can stop India from future blockades. I don't think we will ever think of a blockade in future. Okay, we have already tried this many times. Okay, that is also the problem. Okay, so almost in every decade we have tried a blockade. So we have not done, we have done in 70s, we have done in 80s. I still remember Rajiv Gandhi's time we have blocked. So 2015 is another blockade. So China knows that this is an insurance against, Nepal knows that this, the relationship with China is an insurance against the future blockades from India. So, it will definitely reduce, they also want to reduce dependency on India. Even though it is not that easy, reduce dependency on India. There is not much. See, China is never a communist country. Okay, China is in the name of communism, they have captured power. Okay, it's an oligarchy. A group of people captured power with a broad name of Communist Party. Otherwise, they are not following any communist principles. No, no concept of state controlling the economy or anything. They want that few individuals want to control. That's all. Otherwise, they have given up on everything. Okay, but the problem, there are limits. Despite all these things, geography is a factor. We cannot ignore this. Okay, so there is and limits are still there. Even though we have said that China can do a lot in Nepal and Nepal can do many things, but again, geography, it's not that easy to overcome also. History, culture, language, religion. Okay, so all these are definitely limits, despite everything what we say. And it is the best part is, because of geography, Nepal is naturally open to India. They have to just walk down, and it is so well connected with India. So that is one limit. Second is, despite all aspects of Chinese investment and things like that, there are a section of Nepal are really concerned about the debt trap of Chinese investment. Okay, a substantial section of the intellectuals are also worried about the debt trap in this BRI, Belt and Road Initiative. This is what everybody is saying. And another issue is Nepal is also aware that if they try to play, hard game, Nepal is too small to be a player between India and China and all. Okay, so they should also understand that Nepal is too small compared to these giant neighbors. I mean, had it been in between India and Bangladesh, somebody thinks would have been a bit better. But now both the players are too big, and Nepal is too small. And maybe Nepal, if it is sucked into this game, always a small player and a small Nepal is a small fly in the pan or a fry in the pan type. Okay, so they will be completely devastated. Okay, if there's they can be dragged into the Sino Indian competition, and the ultimate loser will be Nepal. See, it's something like you are trying to be a mediator in between, trying to take advantage from both sides. There is a limit for that. Okay, so Nepal, it's always better to keep away from this geopolitics. That is always beneficial for Nepal. In the long run, Nepal will be, because India and China are too big for them, we will find our own way. And we know that if Nepal start playing this game, we know that Nepal is not reliable. For China also will feel that Nepal is not reliable. So what will happen is that at an opportune time, both India and China may drop Nepal, and it will be a big problem for them, because they cannot play a hard game. They should not play a hard game. Initially, there may be short-term benefits. Definitely there will be short-term benefits. Short-term benefits will be there. But long-term, you will not be reliable. See, like with Bhutan, you see, we know that Bhutan knows we don't want, they are very clear. They know that every benefit can be through India only, and they are not trying to bargain. That should be the spirit. So, but Nepal, if they think that I will bargain with both, initially it looks good, but in the long run, you will lose the trust. And once you lose the trust from both sides, then it will be disastrous. Okay, so that way Nepal should be very careful. And so that's about this question. So we were talking about what are the strategic calculation, but Nepal should be very careful, otherwise they will be losing ultimately. Okay, so that's about it. Now another question is, beyond the border dispute, there are other long-standing causes of Nepali resentment towards India. Okay, this is only one aspect. There are many more aspects. Okay, what are the big issues other than the border dispute? What are the other long-standing causes of Nepali resentment? I mean, many things I have already said. So, if a question talked about this particular thing, what are the major irritants between India and Nepal? Or one is, of course, the border dispute right now. What are the other irritants? Okay, so beyond the border dispute, there are other long-standing causes. So, one big issue right from the beginning for Nepal is the treaties. Okay, the unequal diplomatic agreements. Let me put it this way. What are the other issues? One is the unequal diplomatic agreements. Starting with the 1950 Peace and Friendship Treaty. 1950 Peace and Friendship Treaty. Okay, so this is the bedrock, or that is the foundation of India-Nepal relations. But Nepal feels this is a one-sided treaty and it is not in favor of Nepal. They always feel, the vast majority Nepalis feel that it is fully in favor of India. It is hugely unpopular in Nepal. So, these unequal diplomatic agreements. And also, they are also fearing, or rather the Nepali perception is, our river water agreements like Gandak, Koshi, Mahakali, Gandak, Kosi, Mahakali agreements, water agreements are heavily in favor of India. That is the perception in Nepal. Whether it is actually in favor, time only will tell exactly. But the perception in Nepal is these Gandak, Kosi, Mahakali agreements are also fully in favor of India, and we are exploiting Nepal. Okay, India exploits the Nepali wealth. India is exploiting the wealth. So that is the perception. That is one big issue between India and Nepal, or at least the Nepali perception is we are exploiting it. That is number one. Number two, we are talking, what is the question? The question is, beyond the border dispute, there are other long-standing causes for Nepali resentment towards India. So that is what we are talking. So the second issue is the issue of the blockades, as I already mentioned. The Nepal lost faith in India. The ordinary citizens have lost faith in India because they know that at any time India to exploit our benefits for our benefit, India may resort to an economic blockade. We have done it in 1975. We have done it in 1989. Now we have done in 2015. So every 2 decades we have done one blockade. And Rajiv Gandhi's time, again the same issue, and the number of border points were reduced to 2, and many things we have done, and it was very difficult. There is a shortage of table salt in Nepal at that time. Okay, because Nepal has no source. It has to come from India. We blocked it, and it was a big difficulty for them. So, and the crippling blockade, especially of 2015. So that is what led to Nepal signing the transit agreement with China. So this has literally pushed Nepal to the other side, we can say. That is number two. Number three is the issue of border. See, we have an open border. Nepalis can enter India. Similarly, Indians can go to Nepal without any restriction. And because of the open border, most of the economy of Nepal is in the hands of the Indian businessmen, especially the tourism, trade. Okay, these are the two major activities in both, especially the Marwadi community. They are completely dominating the Nepali economy, which is not to their liking. Nepal wants some restriction of Indians entering Nepal. Then we reminded them, if you restrict, we will also restrict. Then what will happen to the poor ordinary citizens who are taking finding an employment in India? So that is why they are not able to push it beyond a point. But this open border, and when this poor, ordinary Nepalis go back, there is a lot of extortion and harassment in the border by our some of the corrupt officials also. So they are always complaining about extortion, harassment, because the poor people, when they go back, see, if a Nepali guard in India, if he is going back, naturally he may not having much contact or control or anything, and in such a situation there is always a chance of they being some sort of extortion or harassment. They always complain about the harassment at the border. Then fourth point I would like to add here is the Buddha's legacy. Okay, Lord Buddha's legacy. So we always claim, India always claim the legacy of Lord Buddha as if it is quite natural. I mean, natural legacy. Even recently in the address to the UN General Assembly, Prime Minister Modi talked about Buddhism, Buddha's message of peace, as if we have taken it for granted. But Nepal always reminds that, please remember, Siddhartha was born in Nepal. Originally he is a Nepali. And even now they are claiming Lord Ram is from Nepal, right? So, they are very, see, it's all sentimental issue. Nepal feels that India cannot single-handedly take the credit of Lord Buddha, or you cannot claim the heritage and say that Buddhism is an is originated from India. Of course, he was in India for quite substantial time. He got Gyan and both everything here, but he is originally from the Siddharth's birthplace is Lumbini and Lumbini, right? Lumbini. So, Nepal is very upset about India cornering all glory of Lord Buddha, because they feel, ye to ab kam se kam bolo, at least you acknowledge and say that Siddhartha was born in. So that is a Buddha's legacy is an issue for them, and also the big brother behavior of India, big brother behavior, and because Nepal says India formed only in 1947. But they were there, the treaty of Sugoli was in 1816. So who is big? Who is first? Okay, because Nepal says they became a nation, okay, much before India. And India became independent only, and India as a country came only in 1947. And you are talking about history and legacy and all, okay. So, and then the big behavior, and also Nepal is very upset about the micromanagement of Nepali politics. Okay, the micromanagement. We always interfere in the Nepali politics. We have interfered in the Nepali politics. And right now, when there is about to a split in the Nepal Communist Party, the Chinese were doing the same thing. What India used to do earlier, this time the Chinese ambassador did the same. She, talked to the leaders and somehow convinced the leaders that not to split the Communist Party at that time. So, but this was the work done by India always. We were always there. So, Nepalis are also upset about the micromanagement in the Nepali politics. And as I told, another, the feeling is that Nepali citizens in India, they are not treated well. They are discriminated in India. The Nepali citizens, especially in North India, we don't have much respect for the when even the northeastern people we ask, are you a Nepali? So this is our problem. Okay, this racial mindset in India is a problem. In India, citizens are discriminated, and many of them, please understand, the people of the hills of Nepal are upper caste. And for them, when they come to India, they are treated as worse than our, our own communities. And you know it very well. So this discrimination is also something which is not to the liking of the Nepal. So these are some of the issues which are there. The question is very simple. Beyond the dispute, border dispute, there are many other long-standing causes of Nepali resentment, and all these things are ultimately culminating into a situation where that India has almost lost Nepal, and we have literally handed over Nepal to the Chinese. But still, all is not lost. Still, we can mend ways if you have an imaginative leadership, and if you are seeing, and even if you go by the RSS ideology also, it is the only Hindu kingdom, the only country where Hinduism is still there, other than India. So we should be doing something to ensure that they are in our fold. Culturally, emotionally, they should be supporting India. So we need to do, so we should not be giving up on this. Even now we can mend ways, small things like border and so many things we can easily settle, a good connectivity. Let us work to improve the economy of Nepal. Let us invest in Nepal. Infrastructure can definitely change. Education we should give, health we should give. So we should provide the way we want to develop India. We should also consider Nepal as part of us, if we can consider, and we can really invest. Okay, so that is how we can be doing it. So, so we'll have a small break, a 10 minutes break. So already it is 3:05. So we will start at 3:15. Okay, so 3:15. Okay, so I'll be doing. So I have one more question in Nepal. Then I'll be moving into India, Bangladesh. Okay, so we can finish India, Bangladesh also today. Okay. Yeah, I will. In general, so I'll talk about that. How do we handle that? See, ultimately, Nepal should be acting as a buffer between India and China, but at the same time, Nepal should be loyal to, or rather, we should maintain the loyalty. See, Madeshis are not Indians. That is what we should understand. Okay, there are so many people outside India who have problem. So our problem is we are considering Madheshis as Indians. Madheshis are Indian origin people in Nepal. Anyway, so after the break, okay, 10 minutes, 3:15 will start. ये ठीक लग रहा है? Hmm. So coming back, so we were talking about the border dispute and other long-standing causes for resentment. So another question, that is, about the Nepali Gurkha recruitment to Indian Army is a valuable strategic asset for India in Nepal. In fact, what we are trying to say here is, uh, there are a lot of questions. Why do we actually recruit from Nepal? What is the need when we have 1.3 billion people in India? Do we actually require? So, according to many experts, especially even the former army chiefs and all, this is a very strategic asset. We can, we have a community, our community in Nepal, no matter how the political leadership will think of doing things, they will be always loyal to India because they have worked for India, they are getting pension from India. So, they understand also, and this can be treated as a big asset rather than a problem. So, that is why we are continuing even today. If the Britishers started it, and we are still continuing because we are treating this as an asset rather than a liability. Okay. So, this is how we can always link Nepal with India forever in the strategic matters. Okay. So, that is a concept. So, a couple of points in this. First of all, even during this the border dispute, the, the foreign minister, okay, the foreign minister of Nepal was talking about the Gurkhas. I mean, they may even revolt type. That kind of a statement they made. Okay, and also even the Chinese know that this army or other Gurkha regiment in Indian Army is a big factor. In fact, even a pro-China Nepali Communist Party and even Beijing, so they are aware of this, and that is what many a times they are when even in Nepal, China joined military exercise and all, they are aware that and these are Indian Army fellows and going for the joint military exercise. Anyway, so this is an asset. This we are treating it as an asset, and we have seen earlier economic blockades also. Even in the 2015 economic blockade, then earlier even the Gurkha land agitation. Uh, in all these, Gurkha land movement, okay. So, these problems were there, even we could manage to overcome this problem. So, even now, even when even if the Nepali political leadership tried to instigate the Gurkhas, it is not that easy because they have seen many things before. We have seen the earlier blockades, the Gurkha land agitation. So, India has a huge asset in terms of the army jawans as well as the ex-servicemen community. Okay, huge asset in terms of the army jawans and the ex-servicemen community. So, according to many experts, this community it's a substantial one. 32,000 people are the at any given time they are employed. 32,000 Gurkhas in Indian Army at a given time, and innumerable number of ex-servicemen. So, it's like a guarantee against any pro-China or a pro-left government in Nepal. Okay, this can act as it's a counter. It can act as a counter against this anti-India sentiments and pro-China sentiments. Any left-leaning government also, this can act as a counter. In fact, if you look at the Gurkha Connect, we can say the first time in 1809, this was Maharaja Ranjit Singh. Maharaja Ranjit Singh. He created a Gorkha Sikh martial force. Okay, Maharaja Ranjit Singh, Gorkha Sikh martial force. Then after the Anglo-Gorkha War of 1814 and 15, 1814-15, the Anglo-Gorkha War, the recruitment of Gurkhas into British Army started. Okay, British Indian Army started in after the 1814-15. So we are talking about more than 200 years of recruitment of Gurkhas into British Indian Army. And in 1947 there was a tripartite agreement. A tripartite agreement of 1947 between India, UK and Nepal. A tripartite agreement between India, UK and Nepal. It regulated, this is the agreement which is regulating the recruitment, the pay, the pension, the terms and conditions, everything in these three sovereign countries. See, it's the only community in the world where they are serving in three different countries and three different armies. Okay, so this regulates, tripartite agreement of 1947 regulates the pay, the pension, the facilities, the recruitment in all the three. Okay, and in India, we have around, the Gurkha regiment has around 45,000 army personnel, 45,000 and 43 infantry battalions are there. Out of that, right now the formula is 60-40, 60% Nepalis and the Indian domicile Gurkhas, the rest. The Indian domicile Gurkhas, the rest, that is what the 40% are down. That is why we are talking about around 32,000. Okay, so 60-40 is something that around that ratio it is coming up. Okay, and roughly 1,500 to 2,000 Gurkhas are recruited every year. We can say 1,500 to 2,000 Gurkhas are recruited every year. And in the British Army also, even today, they have a 3,500 Gurkha regiment in British Army. And they are even, British Army is recruiting around 200 of them every year, 200, and they are planning a third regiment in 2019. Okay, so a third battalion they were planning to raise into the British Army. Okay, so they are still continuing with that. And now the Nepali foreign minister recently said that this tripartite agreement should be renegotiated. Okay, the Nepali foreign minister recently said that the tripartite agreement should be renegotiated. And see, the problem in the Nepali elites feel that, why should Nepali citizens work for a foreign country, okay, or a foreign army? Why should they be loyal to a foreign country? That kind of, that feeling is always there. So that is why, and they feel that it is not appropriate for Nepalis to serve in foreign army. This is an elitist mindset, but this is a major employment opportunity and a major support for the economy of Nepal, if you look that way otherwise. So the Nepali, the ordinary citizens feel this is an opportunity for their employment, for their economic progress. But the elites feel that this is a, they are serving and subservient to another nationality. In fact, even in 1974, there was a proposal in India to discontinue the recruitment of Nepalis into the Gurkha regiment. But Indira Gandhi, the Prime Minister Indira Gandhi at that time, she rejected outrightly, saying that we cannot discontinue the Gurkha regiment or recruitment. Okay, and so now we are seeing, in fact, according to many experts, this is a very strategic and a valuable strategic asset in Nepal. These Gurkhas and the ex-servicemen are a valuable strategic asset in Nepal. This can act as a guarantee against pro-China activities, anti-national activities, and this legacy, and we should not be ignoring, and we should continue to cultivate and protect, so that this can be a guarantee against any, it's a historic opportunity which the history given opportunity, and we should not be giving up on this. Okay, so that is what generally it is felt about it. So the question is, the Nepali Gurkha recruitment is a valuable strategic asset for India in Nepal, definitely, and it will help India, and it should continue, and no doubt. See, the interest of India is well protected whenever we are able to protect the interests of our smaller neighbors also. If the smaller neighbors are suffering, Indian interests cannot be protected that easily. So that is the mindset, that should be the mindset with which we should be working. So that is the idea in this also. We should continue with the strategic asset, that's it. Now, coming to another last question about Nepal. What is the way forward for India in regaining the lost glory in the India-Nepal relation? What is the way forward for India in regaining the lost glory? Okay. Yeah. So, what needs to be done? Basically, we are talking about what needs to be done. Enough is enough. And, according to some of the foreign policy experts in India, we are the world's closest neighbors. World's closest neighbors. This was said by a foreign diplomat, Sukhdev Muni. Okay. So anyway, but the problem is we are not able to exploit the situation in the best possible manner because of various factors we have already seen. And as I was mentioning, we have almost 1,800 kilometer border, 32,000 Gurkha soldiers in Indian Army, and even for India, because of the Indians in Nepal, since we control the remittance which is coming, India's 7th largest source of remittance is from Nepal. Okay, that means we are extracting the money, the profit which we make, we are taking out. Okay, I mean, if not even that is an US based research center has said this. 7th largest source of remittance for India is from Nepal. That means Indians are controlling the economy, we are making profit out of it, and they are sending it back to India. That's the meaning of, they are not investing there. So that means India is getting benefit because of this open border. And India is still, as far as the border trade is concerned, and the bilateral, it is the largest border trade for India. Okay, it is the largest, I mean, as far as the border trade, the largest border trade. Only border I am talking, not the bilateral trade I am saying. Okay, not the bilateral trade, I am talking about the border trade. The largest border trade is with for India, it is with Nepal, it is more than $8 billion. Okay, across the border, because there is no shipment. We are not carrying it to the ocean. Okay, the direct border trade. Okay, so that is the largest right now, and we have in various, as I said, 20 border posts are there. We have 20 border posts where bilateral trade is possible, and then millions of migrant workers. So these are all our legacy. But having said all these things, what needs to be done? Now the question is, what needs to be done? As I already mentioned, the first thing we have to do is that we should fully internally, we should mentally, we should convince ourselves that Nepal is an independent country. Okay, our problem is a mindset issue. Okay, first thing is we have to fully accept the sovereignty. See, we are not saying, I am not saying that we are not aware, we know. The mindset is such that we are not able to, believe in that. And we should accept the concept of nation state. However small Nepal is, even Bhutan, even if it is very small, we have to accept them as a separate, Maldives. It may be only like a small township of in Delhi, but we should be accepting it as a foreign country, that we should accept the Nepal as a nation state, and we should treat them as an independent country, and we cannot micromanage, no micromanagement. We should resist this temptation of micromanagement of the local politics of Nepal. Okay, and the second point is the special relationship and the the what you call the special relationship or the Indo-Nepal Friendship Treaty 1950. It is a much maligned, or rather it is hated by Nepalis today. This Indo-Nepal Friendship Treaty 1950 is hated by Nepalis. That's the reality. They always see this treaty as a unequal treaty. It always binds Nepal as a second class nation. So if it is hated, or if they have so much of resentment, which all of us know, it is high time to renegotiate. See, we have already renegotiated our treaty with Bhutan. The 1949 India-Bhutan treaty has been renegotiated in 2006-07. Okay, 1949 India-Bhutan treaty is already renegotiated. Okay, in 2006-07 time. We have even amended it. See, there is a provision in the India-Bhutan Friendship Treaty that Bhutan should take guidance from India in foreign policy. We have removed it. Article 2 of the India-Bhutan Treaty has been changed to make it equal. And we made sure that in the 6-7 agreement, that 2006-07 agreement, we treated our treaties between equals. We have acknowledged Bhutan as a proper nation state. The same thing should be done here. There is no harm. And see, we have visa-free travel, everything is there, but let us make sure that the sentiments of the Nepali people, a small population, small country, they are always, they have many sentiments, and we should be, respecting that. We have already renegotiated, and we have renegotiated our border problem with, with Bangladesh. We could resolve. So many problems were there with Bangladesh. We have maritime issue was there. We had a dispute regarding the Numur Islands were there. We have resolved everything. See, if we can, that point also you can add, if we can resolve the Bangladesh border dispute, too many problems were there. There were enclaves, there were shifting rivers. Then there were issues related to maritime boundary, an adverse possession of land. There's too many problems. We resolve, if we can resolve it with Bangladesh, we can definitely resolve it with the Nepal. The problems are very, very minute when it comes to that river. Only dispute is regarding the origin of the river, and we have to decide whether which stream is the original stream. That's all. We can appoint a commission if you cannot agree. We can go to PCA. We can finish it off. Okay, and now next point I would like to add is, no bilateral relation can sustain only on sentiments. Okay, even love affair will not survive on sentiment. You know? After some time, money will play a role. I mean, all of us know. Okay, if your lover has no money, no income, after some time he will decide to give up. I am sure. Okay, so no bilateral relation can survive based on sentiments alone. Economy will play a very crucial role. Economy will play a very crucial role. So, or shared interest will play a role. Shared interest. See, it should be a win-win situation for all of us. Win-win situation. So, if Nepalis are always feeling that they are, not getting their due share, then today or tomorrow they will revolt. Even in the river water treaty, this is a problem we are facing right now. We are blaming Nepal is not doing that, doing this. But we should have an agreement to the satisfaction of the Nepali population. More negotiation, discussion should be there. So, a shared interest win-win situation has to be created. Unfortunately, we are not able to do that. And even now, the general sentiment in Nepal is the treaties are always one-sided in favor of India. And another point I would like to say is the Madheshi issue. And I have only one answer, as you asked earlier also. Madheshis are not Indians. They are not even, we can say, what you call NRIs. They are not. They are only people of Indian origin. See, like Sri Lankan Tamils are people of Indian origin. They have migrated from India maybe 2000 years before, 3000 years before. Now, we cannot talk for them. But yes, if had they migrated during, during the modern time, we would have considered them as maybe the so-called PIOs to be supported. But they are much before. They are staying there even from time immemorial. So, the issue is we should not be treating Madheshi problem as if it is an Indian problem. Yes, if they have, we can put pressure. We can some or other activity we can do to try to support them. But after all, please understand this, Madheshi. Anybody can come and settle in India. There is no restriction whatsoever. We should not be that sentimental about the Madheshi issue. And the way we treated, or the way we interfered in the Madheshi issue in 2015, when that new constitution was coming up, it was pure politics by India because of the Bihar election. That is the truth. Otherwise, we would not have been doing. And we came to know about so much of Madheshis are there only during that time. We never talked about this Madheshi problem before. But now, suddenly, why we got remembered about 2015 why we talked about Madheshi? It is only because of the internal politics of Bihar. Anyway, you need not write that in the answer, but that is the reality. So, please understand, Madheshis are not Indians. They are not, the NRIs or anybody. They are people of Indian origin, that is true, but we should treat them as that means they are a sovereign people of another country. And we have our foreign policy very clearly. We will not interfere in the internal affairs of other country. So, we should respect that. So, unfortunately, we are not doing that. Then, another point is the economic blockades are counterproductive. Economic blockades are counterproductive. See, please understand, ultimately, any economic blockade will result in suffering of common man. Elites will never suffer. Now, if you are a rich man, no matter whatever be the economic blockade, you will import oil from China or Uganda for that matter. Okay, you will airlift. That is what Chinese they have done. The elites have actually done in Nepal, in Kathmandu, when there is a acute shortage of petroleum products and all, they have airlifted petroleum from China. But that was served only to the elites. So, elites will never suffer. So, any economic blockade, ultimately, this is counterproductive and it will result in the suffering of poor, of ordinary citizens, and it is always counterproductive. And ill will, so the people as a permanent ill will in the minds of the people against Indians because of what we have done. Okay, and there can only be short term and long term, always it can be a problem. And also, but one more point, the geographical barrier between Nepal and China should not be seen as an essential block. We have already seen it can easily be overcome by technology. Nepal is proving, China is proving. So, we should not take Nepal for granted. Don't take Nepal for granted because of geography. Okay. And another point, shared interest, shared progress, I already said. Nepal has an HEP potential, hydroelectric power potential of 83,000 megawatts because of these rivers, and even in India, the Ganga system and all, 40% of the water comes from Nepal. So, 83,000 megawatt potential, and India, especially for North Indian states, UP, Bihar and all these states, we need cheap electricity. Hydroelectric power is cheap, renewable, and it will not result in global warming. So, we can 83,000 megawatt, but again we should create or we should have agreements which are win-win situation. Win-win situation should be there. And then one more point, Nepal is very crucial for internal security because open border. So, it is very crucial for internal security of India, internal security. It can result in Maoist insurgency, Islamic, radicalization. Even this can be exploited by Pakistan and China to destabilize India. Then India should also understand that this right wing or the Hindutva ideology that in the Terai region, it is right now the population, there are Muslims, okay, 95% Hindus and around 5% Muslims in Nepal. Right now there is communal harmony, but if we continue or rather if you unnecessarily provoke, and there can also be a communal angle in future. If there is so much of communal angle in UP today, and it can definitely be extended to Nepal in future, and then in a politically destabilized Terai region, a destabilized Terai region can be counterproductive for India. Okay, it's something like the Sri Lankan Tamil issue between India and Sri Lanka. It may result in something like that. It will be a problem. So, the Madheshi control, there should be controlled, and we should not be encouraging any dissent against the Nepali government. We should support them and we should help them. But if you create dissent in the Terai region, it will be counterproductive for India. So, India should resist this temptation of propping up these Madheshis unnecessarily beyond a point. Yes, we should be aware of their problems, we should support them, give more support here. I mean, we have all men and machinery. Let us improve the technology, the infrastructure in the Terai region, more connectivity, road, rail, everything we can do. Let us help them in like that, so that the Terai region should economically prosper, rather than propping up them against the Nepali constitution. See, at that time we did not see, again the Nepali constitution was passed the way it was passed because India did not care so much at that time. After it was passed, then we complained. It has no value. So anyway, so these are the things what needs to be done. So the question was that what is the way forward? So many things to do, and we should not lose. I mean, even now we can regain confidence in Nepal. Let us rework the Indo-Nepal Friendship Treaty. of 1950. Let us rework the the river water treaties. Okay, and let us work for the genuine economic development, a win-win situation, genuine economic development of the Nepal region, and things will happen. And because geography is on our side, history is on our side, religion is on our side, culture is on our side, but if you provoke, these can all be, we have seen, these can be, they can give up all and go to China. Okay, that possibility is also there. So we should not be provoking them unnecessarily, right? So that's about India and Nepal. Now moving to next topic, that is India and Bangladesh. Okay, India-Bangladesh relations. Let me talk about India-Bangladesh. Now, with Bangladesh, we have more than 4,000 kilometers of border, longest border with Bangladesh, and many of the problems with Bangladesh have its origin in this long border only. And most importantly, it is not hilly or anything, it is all in the plains, in the cultivable land. And it's very difficult to even make out that there is a border, because it is in a history induced, or rather in an artificial boundary between India and Bangladesh. On the basis of religion, we divided. Hindu majority villages became India and Muslim majority villages became Pakistan at that time, and it is an artificial boundary. So naturally, the problems between India and Bangladesh are, many of these problems are because of this very long border and an artificial division between India and Pakistan at that time. Now it's Bangladesh. Okay, so coming to this, the first of all, the India-Bangladesh. We have more than 4,096 kilometers border, and it is mainly this border, it is an artificial border, artificially divided villages based on Hindu Muslim majority. That is number one. And number two, the second point here you should know is there are 54 rivers. It is in the mouth of the Ganga. It's the delta of Ganga and Brahmaputra. 54 rivers are crossing from India to Bangladesh. And all these 54 of them form a boundary. All 54 form boundary. Wherever it's crossing, it is a boundary actually. Okay. And the riverine boundary itself is almost 800 kilometers. The riverine boundary is almost 800 kilometers. And some of these rivers are of shifting nature, although shifting course, creating another problem. So blocking or controlling the riverine boundary, you know it very well. The Talweg principle we follow, meaning the middle of the river. So you cannot have a border outpost and all in the middle of the river in any case, right? And moreover, even if you have fencing, fencing cannot be exactly on the border. It will be maybe 100 meters inside or 200 meters inside. So there are so many, and these are all cultivable land. There are big issues of managing that. And people are issued passes beyond the border post or the fences, and they go and cultivate on the other side of the fence also. So there are big humanitarian issues involved in the border. So the the cultivation beyond the the fence, the fencing. Okay, that is also an issue. Then a big issue in between India and Bangladesh is in terms of the illegal migrants. Because of the open border and a bit of density of population, density is very high. One of the densest populated region in the world, we can say. Density is high. Poverty is also there. This region is not very prosperous. So naturally, what happens? This has resulted in a lot of subsistence migration to India. Subsistence migration, meaning migrants who are in search of livelihood, survival, and it's very easy to migrate also. This creates a lot of problem with illegal migrants, and we have we don't know how many are there. Some in the critics or other, at some point of time, the former Deputy Prime Minister or LK Advani said that there are 15 million illegal migrants in India. It's a very high figure he quoted, but he talked about that. This is when a Deputy Prime Minister speaks, we have to count that. That's the meaning. But still, a couple of million illegal migrants in India, definitely it will be there. It will not be more, less than that, because a couple of million will definitely be there. But it is mostly subsistence migration. There may not be any threat to the internal security and all, but definitely it is subsistence migration is there, illegal migration. Then it is also, this open border is also a transit for illegal drugs, illegal drug trade, especially from the Golden Triangle. From the Golden Triangle entering India. I mean, the Myanmar, Thailand, that Cambodia, that Laos region, okay, that Golden Triangle, illegal drug entering India, it's a transit point. And also, this, because of the open border, it's also a transit point for anti-nationals, anti-India activities, ISI agents. Very easy to enter India from Bangladesh, because the open border, or not exactly open, but very difficult to control border. Then also space for cattle smuggling. Then small time smugglers buy 50 kilo, 70 kilo items from India, carry it to Bangladesh over in a cycle and all. Okay, small time smuggling. Then this is also anti-social elements also. I mean, this is theft. Do some burglary, theft and all. You can run into Bangladesh. You cannot be caught that easily. So even theft, local mafia, all these issues. Local mafia, or then. So these are all issues because of the border. Okay, so our problems are, and then even some of the, for example, drugs. I mean, the medical drugs, misuse of the the cough syrups and all. I mean, which is used as an intoxicant in Bangladesh, which is a normal drug available in the store, but which is used as a for some kick and high. Like instead of alcohol. They use this cough syrup, Fencidril and all. Okay, so many such things, because it's an open border. And daily wage workers entering India. Daily wage workers entering India. They enter India, work and go back to Bangladesh without any documents. So these are all issues related to the border. Okay, so many of the problems have been its origin in its long border. So illegal migrants, smuggling, everything will come into picture, and these are issues, and we need to tackle. So a friendly relationship should be able to tackle these issues, because the open border, and it is a historically created border. That's a big issue. Coming to the next question, a healthy relation with Bangladesh is a must for even stability in Northeast India. So we can also talk about that angle. Okay, healthy relations with Bangladesh, because Northeast India is separated from India by Bangladesh, and the link is the Siliguri corridor. It is only a few kilometers width. Okay, otherwise it is almost separated from India, from the mainland, because of the presence of Bangladesh. So how to deal, and what all can be done? So first of all, the Northeast India is also not settled in India. You know it very well. There are many insurgent groups. Many insurgent groups in Northeast India. And when, especially before Sheikh Hasina came to power, okay, in 2008, Sheikh Hasina came to power in 2008. Before that, the BNP government was not so friendly with India. The BNP and the Begum Khalida Zia. Begum Khalida Zia government was not so friendly with India. And during that time, many of these insurgent groups who were, even armed rebellion against India, they were having a safe haven in Bangladesh. They were having a safe haven in Bangladesh. So a friendly relation with Bangladesh can always, and now things have brought under even our, ULFA. Most of the ULFA leaders were in Bangladesh. We could arrest many of them from Bangladesh after Sheikh Hasina came to power. And they did not allow these activities from Bangladeshi soil. So the question we are talking, healthy relations with Bangladesh is a must for stability in Northeast India. So it can definitely help in controlling the anti-India activities or insurgent groups from Bangladesh, okay, from Bangladesh. And a second point is a neutral or a pro-India Bangladesh. Even a neutral Bangladesh can ensure the containment of China, an assertive China in the region. Can contain, because the onslaught of China, everywhere finally we talk about China, okay, that's the reality. And today, and also the navigable rivers, a third point is the navigable rivers through Bangladesh from northeast, okay, navigable rivers through Bangladesh from northeast can give access to northeastern states to our Calcutta port or even the Haldia port and all, okay. So this navigable rivers will bring in faster and better connectivity from northeast to Kolkata or Haldia port. So this can help in improving the economic condition of the northeastern states. And also another point which we can always talk about is this can reduce and a land connectivity through Bangladesh. That means through rail and road connectivity through Bangladesh can substantially reduce the travel time from Calcutta to Agartala or to Manipur, to Agartala, to even Meghalaya, that means to Shillong, and even to the Mizoram also, but the capital of Manipur, Imphal, especially to Agartala, Shillong and Imphal, the travel time can be substantially reduced. Even to Aizawl, we can substantially reduce the travel time. It's a big achievement. And it also, the Bangladesh can act as a pillar of our Look East policy. Bangladesh can act as a pillar for our Look East policy, because Look East policy can succeed only if there is connectivity, proper connectivity with the Southeast Asian states. And this connectivity is achieved or can be achieved through from the mainland, from the Calcutta region, through Bangladesh to northeast to Myanmar. So this is a very important link, and our Look East policy will succeed only if there is physical connectivity, and this can bring in a lot of employment and economic prosperity in the northeastern states also, and the faster economic growth will take place. So what we are trying to tell is a healthy relation with Bangladesh, if there is connectivity, if there is road, rail, even water connectivity, even electricity. The electricity produced in northeastern states can be evacuated. Electricity can be evacuated through Bangladesh. We are already having a grid connectivity through Bangladesh from northeast to to West Bengal, through Bangladesh. We have agreed to have a grid connection. It will definitely improve the electricity availability across the country, and also we can evacuate power from northeast India to the mainland. Okay. So, these things will definitely help in the economic growth of the region. Now, we have already started train connectivity, we have started the bus connectivity, Calcutta to Agartala through Bangladesh. So, even Calcutta to Shillong through Bangladesh. So, this will people to people contact also will substantially increase. Okay. Then coming to, so that's about the healthy relation which can help in the northeast, no doubt. And another question is about the water, okay, the water sharing and the issues related to water. The relationship of India with Bangladesh is not only decided by the diplomatic channels, but also by geographical realities like water sharing, both in land and sea. I am just talking about the various dimensions of water in India-Bangladesh relations. Okay, the various dimensions of water. Various dimensions of water. So, and as we have talked a bit already, first of all, as I said, there are 54 rivers crossing the border, and because it is in the delta of, or Sundarban delta or delta of Ganga and Brahmaputra. First point is that. Okay. Now, the first agreement was in 1996, the Ganga water sharing agreement, Ganga water sharing. And the dispute was related to the Farakka barrage. Okay, the dispute was related to the Farakka barrage. The Ganga water sharing agreement we signed. And when the main complaint was that India is diverting water into Hooghly, and we have settled it to the satisfaction of Bangladesh. So, finally, we have agreed for almost 50-50 sharing in lean season. Okay, almost 50-50 sharing in the lean season, that is what we agreed, and we have settled it. Okay. So, Ganga we have agreed. Then the second major dispute was Teesta, yet to be settled, and in 1983, okay, the 1983 we agreed for an ad hoc water sharing, 1983 an ad hoc water sharing, where we agreed that Teesta river will be shared between India and Bangladesh in the ratio of 39:36. So, 75% of the water we will share, 25 we will decide later on, and ad hoc sharing was 39:36. Okay, 39:36, and the rest 25% to be decided later. Okay, the rest 25% to be decided later, because 39 plus 36 is equal to 75. Then in 2010 we almost agreed to share the remaining 25% 50-50. In 2010 or 11 we almost agreed, or rather we agreed for sharing this 25% 50-50. But because of the protest by our West Bengal government and Mamata Banerjee, when she came to power, immediately after that she protested, and that is why the Teesta agreement has not been signed. We agreed, but we did not sign. So Bangladesh is very sentimental about water because they are critically dependent on water, because they are an agrarian country, a poor country, developing country. So naturally they are very upset, or rather they are very sentimental about water sharing. They are very sentimental, but unfortunately we could not do. And a third dispute, we know it very well, the Tipaimukh. This is a hydroelectric power project in Manipur on Barak River. Again, the problem is Bangladesh is, we could not, it is unilaterally we started. Bangladesh objection is mainly because of their fear about this. I mean, they are not very clear. See, they always say, we are always telling them that this is good for you. So Bangladeshis are always saying India should not decide what is good for Bangladesh. Okay, quite natural. India, their argument is India should not decide what is good for Bangladesh. Okay, so when we say it is good, and also what could be the the effects on the ecosystem in Bangladesh because of this river. So no environment study, no proper environment study in Bangladesh. Okay, no proper environment study in Bangladesh as far as what all the effects of it. So they are saying at least you conduct it. So the Ganga is resolved. Teesta we almost agreed, but because of the internal politics of India we could not agree. And then Tipaimukh we yet to agree. And so this is about the river. These are the main three river disputes. But the other dispute is in the ocean, in the sea. One was the Numur Island. As all of us know, it was emerged in 1970 after a cyclonic storm. Exactly on the border, and if this is the border between India and Bangladesh, it is just on the border. This border of India and Bangladesh is by the river called Haribanga river. And since the river is flowing, say the river is flowing like this, and what is said is on the right side of the river, you stand in the direction of the river, this is right, this is left. Okay, right of the river is India, left of the river is Bangladesh. Okay, now since the island was formed exactly in the middle of the river and the water is flowing on either side, which is the right of the river and the left of the river is the issue now. India says the main river is on the left of this is the main. Bangladesh says no, this is the Bangladesh says this is the main channel. So which is the main channel is the dispute. So but we went into PCA. The PCA gave a verdict in 2014. Permanent Court of Arbitration. PCA gave a verdict and it gave the verdict in favor of India. Luckily, they said it is the main river, main channel is on the other side. Narrowly we escaped. But now, since it is formed, it is a depositional island. Now, the last couple of years, it is sinking. Already, most of the island has already gone below water. So there may not be anything to dispute later on. Okay. So that was the Numur. And as far as the the exclusive economic zone dispute is concerned, exclusive economic zone dispute, Bangladesh went to PCA, we could not agree in 2009, Permanent Court of Arbitration at The Hague. We went to The Hague in 2009. And the total disputed area, see, in fact, is around 25,000 square kilometers. So it was again after the where the boundary line should be, whether it is like this or this like this. No, there was a disputed area of around 25,000 square kilometers. Finally, PCA gave its verdict in 2014, by and large in favor of Bangladesh, and allotted 19,000 square kilometers out of the 25,000 to Bangladesh, and the rest around 6,000 to India. And both agreed. Both India and Bangladesh accepted, luckily, accepted the verdict and implemented. So, this agreement, or rather this, we have approached the PCA under the UNCLOS. So, United Nations Convention on Law of Seas, Convention on Law of Seas, and under this we have agreed. So, water is a major issue between India and Bangladesh, and as I told, it is a geographic reality like water sharing, and we have by and large settled. A couple of them we are still, had not been the internal power politics, had not been we succumbing to the internal politics, or had not West Bengal unnecessarily creating this question of 50-50 sharing, hardly any, it's a few what you call cubic meters of water we could have easily accepted, considering the fact that the need of water in Bangladesh is more than the need of water in our Terai region in Bangladesh, in the northern Bengal. So anyway, so that is how this has been settled. So water is an issue. Another big issue between India and Bangladesh is trade. Okay, so two sentimental issues between India and Bangladesh. Whenever we talk, between India and Bangladesh, one is water, another is trade, because of the again, huge trade deficit for Bangladesh with India. So I will be coming to the trade part, okay, that is separately. So next question is, as we celebrate the birth centenary of Sheikh Mujibur Rahman this year, 2020 is the centenary year, okay. It is of immense satisfaction that India-Bangladesh ties have flourished in leaps and bounds. See, because I am taking a very positive question here, because this is the only country with which we still have the best relationship, if we are not counting, Bhutan to that extent, because Bhutan is too small, but that way if you look, even Maldives is very small. So, other than Bhutan, right now, such a big country, Bangladesh, 200 million population, more population than Pakistan. So, we can say the largest neighbor is Bangladesh for India, if you are discounting China in South Asia. So, we have one of the best relationship. So, that is something very, very satisfying. So, that is, and many steps we have taken, and especially after Prime Minister Modi came to power, this is one area he tried to improve, but at the same time, we need more steps to be taken. But some of the internal issue again is destabilized, like Citizenship Amendment Act. So these kind of things are not helping anyway. So that is the background in which I am talking, because this year we are trying to celebrate that the what you call Sheikh Mujibur Rahman's birth centenary in a big way in Bangladesh. Okay, so it is declared as the Mujib Varsho. Okay, Varsho means year in Bangla. Okay, Mujib Varsho or Mujib year, because his daughter is the Prime Minister, an unquestioned leader there. So after seeing Bangladesh and the way Sheikh Hasina captured power and 2 elections she manipulated now, this is the fear for me in India. Now, if and she is continuing as a legitimate leader. If she can continue the way, see, now democracy is a farce in Bangladesh, the whole, and I was reading an article and in which it was said that the government servant salary in the last 10 years, she increased by 300%. And government servants are more loyal. And the government servant salary in Bangladesh is more than the government servant salary in Russia. But in India, Prime Minister Modi is not doing that. I mean, that is the mistake he is making. He is not winning, because they are putting a lot of pressure on these officers, and officers are not very happy with the Modi administration, and especially the IAS, and parallel entry, and IRS fellows being promoted as joint secretaries and all, but otherwise, Sheikh Hasina understood that dynamics. This is now election manipulation and all is very easy. If the officers are with you, anything can happen. So anyway, so and this is this Mujib Varsho is being celebrated in a big way, and as I told, and very well, the 1971 the war and the independence, India played a very crucial role, and Sheikh Mujibur Rahman. Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, was very close to India. The when they started the what you call the rebellion, armed rebellion, the Indian army was known as the Mitra Bahini, and the rebellion in Bangladesh, what they call them, their army? I just missed out. Okay, Mitra Bahini is the Indian army. They call they are the Mitra, the friends. Okay, the Indian army were known as the Mitra Bahini, and the Bangladeshi rebels were given training in India, in Tripura, in West Bengal. We have given a lot of training also. Anyway, so and after that, so between 1972 to 1975, till the death of the assassination of Mujibur Rahman, we can say a golden period as far as India-Bangladesh relations were concerned, and Bangladesh was also created and some of the solid pillars of democracy, secularism, liberty, okay, all those solid values, okay, socialism, secularism. And most importantly, Bangladesh was started as not as a religious country, and even today, their secular credentials are very, very strong. Okay, and even though there are that Jamaat-e-Islami and other right-wing elements are there, their support in the elections are less than 5%. Please understand. So, and we are still bound, in that, and this Sheikh Mujibur Rahman strongly believed in that socialism, secularism principle, no doubt. And then India-Bangladesh relations have definitely helped, that improved relations in the last, since 2008, we can say, in a big way. It has helped tremendously, number one, in controlling insurgency in Northeast, because the complete stoppage of the support, and also the opposite, like in Bangladesh, it helped in controlling the the religious intolerance, or the what you call radicalization could be controlled in Bangladesh. So it is beneficial for them also. India is not a safe haven for these insurgents, or rather these radicals in India, radicals from Bangladesh who cannot, especially the Jamaat, Jamaatul Mujahideen. Has been fully controlled. Then another big progress in the last many years is the through Bangladesh connectivity to Northeast. Through Bangladesh, land, even road, rail, water or river connectivity to northeast. It's a big achievement. This is something which we were requesting Bangladesh for quite some time, and even the power grid connectivity, power grid. Okay, so this is a big boon for economic activity and also improving our relationship with Bangladesh, because we are in a, and even we are trying for a pipeline, oil pipeline from Myanmar through northeast to Bangladesh to Calcutta type. We are even talking about that, a pipeline connectivity. And we also know that by resolving the the maritime boundary issue, maritime boundary in Bangladesh, because it's very crucial for our Look East policy, because our connectivity, it's a gateway. Our Bay of Bengal is the gateway to Southeast Asia. Right. So connectivity part we are taken care. Now, as far as the trade is concerned, of course, there is trade imbalance, but still we have, except 25 items, we have given duty-free access to Bangladeshi goods to India. And slowly it is finding fruits, because for the first time the Bangladesh export to India has crossed $1 billion. For the first time, this is the only country in the vicinity in our South Asia who would export more than $1 billion worth items to India. That is it. And even for Bangladesh, other than Japan, the only country where their export is more than $1 billion, no other country they have export more than 1 billion. Not even with China, even though they have more trade with China, it is most of the Chinese export to, or import from China to Bangladesh, not the export back. Okay, so the trade things are improving, and we have already created 10 border crossing points. 10 border crossing points are being created with the state-of-the-art facilities also. And as far as the the what you call line of credit is concerned, in the last 10 years, India has offered $10 billion. This is the highest with any country anywhere in the world. India has offered line of credit of $10 billion in the last decade. And the people-to-people contact also is improving. And we have processed visa in 2019 itself for more than 1.5 million or 15 lakh Bangladeshis to India. Proper visa, legal entry into India, even though there is no job visa and all, 15 lakh visas have been issued in 2019 alone. That clearly shows that the increased people-to-people contact and the increased faith in each other, and this is something extraordinary. So that is what I am saying. As we celebrate, it is immense satisfaction that India-Bangladesh ties have flourished. Definitely, it has improved in all aspects, whether it is people-to-people contact, whether it is connectivity, whether it is trade. Then India's aid to Bangladesh. So in all aspects, and we have resolved all the disputes except the Teesta water dispute. We can send Dipai Mok, it is a small irritant. This also could have been completed, but unfortunately we could not. But otherwise, water issue we resolved. Trade we have almost, of course, there are issues in trade. I mean, we are not yet completely out, but still things are much better, right? Then, is Bangladesh growing closer to China at the expense of its relations with India? That is the next question, of course, because our Chinese are also not keeping quiet, right? Because in 2016, the Chinese president visited and offered $24 billion investment in one visit. So, China has money. That's the problem, right? So, is Bangladesh growing closer to China at the expense of its relations with India? That's the next question, because in any bilateral relation, I think China is a factor for India right now. So, we cannot ignore one or other question will be there. Yeah, I mean, that also will come into picture, because now we are also changing, because now we realize that if you don't control, we may lose Bangladesh also, the way we lost Nepal. So, we are a bit cautious now. So, Rohingya, we have a new approach right now. Anyway, so I am just coming to that. So, in this, first of all, there was there are some newspaper articles and all saying the last few months, especially during the COVID time, the Bangladeshi Prime Minister refused to meet the Indian envoy for almost 3 months. This was the news item, came in the newspapers. Even though, there is no such truth according to the Bangladeshis, because they are saying, in general, Bangladeshi Prime Minister, because of the COVID, she was not meeting anybody, including Indian envoy. That is what they claimed. And also, various newspaper items, because of the Chinese economic role in Bangladesh, many are immediately concluding that slowly Bangladesh is drifting towards China. Slowly is drifting towards China. Bangladesh is drifting towards China. And in this year, even China offered duty-free access to Bangladeshi products for 97% of the Bangladeshi products. 97% of Bangladeshi products, duty-free access in China. This is almost 8,000 items. So, the New Indian Express wrote an editorial saying that Bangladesh too on the Chinese radar. Bangladesh too on Chinese radar. And the Hindustan Times, they wrote, focus Bangladesh. No, that was the editor. I also read that. Okay, focus Bangladesh. Hindustan Times wrote, saying that we are losing another friend. That was the meaning in the recent past. So, now what is the situation? And that is the question we are asking. So, according to Bangladeshi experts, okay, according to Bangladeshi experts, this is only a hype. Nothing is changing. And the relationship between India and Bangladesh has widened and deepened. Okay, and it has multiple dimensions. It is not only because China has started doing something extra. It is not going to go down. Yes, they are also accepting that Bangladesh has increased its commercial relations with China, no doubt, but that does not mean it is at the expense of India. That is what they are claiming. And in 2016, as I already told, Xi Jinping again visited Bangladesh and he offered $24 billion investment in 27 projects. Okay, offered $24 billion investment in 27 projects, and it was a shock to the rest of the world. So definitely the financial involvement is increasing, and also in April 2020, in a airport project in that Sylhet airport project, L&T lost the bid. It was a $250 million project in the Sylhet airport. L&T was one of the main contender. L&T lost to a Chinese company, and alarm bells were ringing in Delhi naturally. And also, as I told, China opened 97% of their items for duty-free trade also. And the Chinese investment is increasing, no doubt. China is involved in a river tunnel project in near Chittagong. Below the river, a tunnel they are constructing with a very wide river, so they are going for a river tunnel. And also, many infrastructure projects are coming up. $27 billion is offered, so naturally quite big amount, no doubt regarding this. And moreover, as far as as far as India is concerned, a couple of steps taken by India in India, which has affected the India-Bangladesh relation. Definitely, one is the Citizenship Amendment Act and the political rhetoric in India. We are shouting against, we are giving gali to Bangladeshis every day, and all political leaders, including our Home Minister Amit Shah, Bangladeshi ko chun chun ke main pagad ke leke jaunga. Matlab, the way you speak is the problem, na? I mean, in Gujarati mein theek hai, but when it comes to their language, when it is very offensive. Okay, so what has happened is Citizenship Amendment Act and the political rhetoric in India has created a lot of ill will in Bangladesh, and especially even Sheikh Hasina said that it is an unnecessary law. Her reaction was, it is an unnecessary law. Sheikh Hasina's reaction was an unnecessary law. And also the National Population Register, or the NRC, or not NPR, NRC, where 1.9 million people could not find, or not included. The indirect thing is, they are all from Bangladesh. That is what we are trying to tell. So this has put a lot of ill will, because naturally the ordinary Bangladeshis were very upset about this, saying that you are projecting that you are the thieves or intruders. So the hype, most important is not about the 1.9 million, it is more about the hype. And finally it was found that in 1.9 million, it is not all Muslims also, it is majority are Hindus in that 1.9 million anyway. So this NRC thing also created an ill will. The Citizenship Amendment Act definitely, in Bangladesh, even any any anti-Muslim step in India, even the Ayodhya verdict or any of these things, since it is a Muslim majority country, so naturally there is that feeling. So naturally some ill will has been created because the many anti-Muslim steps, even the communal violence in Delhi, in the Bangladeshi press, it took it in a very seriously. So it is quite natural, because of that fellow brethren feeling will be there in this case, right? So and this has created a scenario, and plus the Chinese investment. So this has created a scenario whether Bangladesh is slowly slipping into the hands of Bangladesh. And New Delhi, from our side also, we are a bit overprotective about Bangladesh. Meaning, see, in Bangladesh, the last two elections, whether it is the 2013 election, where it was completely boycotted by the opposition, and only country which recognizes that election is India. And even the 2018 election, where again lot of violence and the opposition was not allowed to participate properly. So, and if you look at these two elections, definitely we can say Sheikh Hasina, yes, Sheikh Hasina is our friend, but it is more of an illegitimate election. And India is the biggest supporter of this illegitimate regime, we can say. So, if you look at objectively, had she not been an India supporter, had she not been supporting India, we would have been seriously objecting her continuation. We would have been talking about almost like, a Pakistani Musharraf government type. So, we are quiet only because she is friendly to India. Otherwise, basically we can say that we are indirectly supporting and propping up this illegitimate regime. So, what we expect is, since we are supporting her, our India's expectation is she will always be along with India or support Indian position. So, our expectation, that is why I said, we are a bit possessive or protective about them because of this. Our expectation is Bangladesh and Sheikh Hasina will always take a pro-India stand. Why? Because we are supporting her regime. So, this is our expectation. But that is too much. We cannot expect, even though we are supporting and propping up, beyond a point they will not do. See, for example, because of the Chinese investment, when this, LAC standoff came, in Ladakh, and when we lost 20 soldiers, we naturally expected Bangladesh to be on our Indian side, but Bangladesh remained neutral. Bangladesh did not say anything. In fact, a neutral stand and said a peaceful settlement of this issue should be there. Bangladesh said only one thing, but when we attacked Balakot, remember at that time Bangladesh made an open statement in support of India. But when it came to this, they said that India and China should settle it, peacefully. So that means what, things are slightly in the last 1 year we can say. And then when the onion prices were going up recently in September, we immediately banned the export of onions to Bangladesh also, which they found it arbitrary, because they were ready and they have invested and then it became arbitrary, then partial opening up took place. So, a lot of things like that. These kind of arbitrary steps are always creating trouble. That continuity should be there and reliability and predictability should be there, which is missing. So, in the last 1 year, things have slowed down a bit, and even the trade also came down a bit. See, compared to 2018, in 2019, there was a reduction of bilateral trade by 12%. There was a reduction by 12%. So, now after Nepal, so final conclusion, let me just put it this way, things were improving. So, India is also modulating our stand with Bangladesh. We are modulating. Slowly we are modulating. Number one, we have taken our stand on Rohingya Muslims and the refugees has slowly changed. Till recently, as far as Rohingyas were concerned, India was firmly backing Myanmar. It is their internal problem, like that we were saying. But now, they have said that, Bangladesh concern also should be taken care. See, because ultimately, they are Bangla-speaking Muslims. Basically, they were all Indians before the creation of Bangladesh. So, now India is saying that Bangladeshi concerns also taken care. Concern should be taken care. So, About the Rohingya Muslims, we have modulated a bit. Number one. Number two, after the lessons from Nepal, the boundary issue and all, India is looking for. I mean, India is not interested, or India wants to avoid Bangladesh falling into the hands of China. Wants to avoid Bangladesh falling into the lap of China. We would like to avoid that. So we are clearly, reflecting in our, reactions also. And definitely, the bargaining power of Bangladesh has increased. No doubt regarding this, because of the China and the economic offer. Because of the economic offer, the bargaining power of Bangladesh has definitely increased. And Bangladesh will not give up this economic offer, because that is a huge amount. $24 billion is much more than what they can imagine. They cannot even dream. Okay. So when China has offered, so Bangladesh will always work in their national interest. They will always look into their economic interest, their win-win situation. So they will be definitely looking into their national interest, and we cannot be oversensitive about the Bangladeshi action. If they talk to China and if they are working with China, we cannot completely avoid that scenario. And we should settle our teesta as early as possible. Taking a cue from what has happened with Nepal, we should settle the teesta issue immediately. See, Bangladesh has not fallen into the hands of China yet. It's not like Nepal. Bangladesh is not Nepal. There is no such big anti-India sentiments against in Bangladesh. Not like in Nepal. Nepal, so much of anti-India sentiments also. And we should. Most important thing is, we should control our rhetoric. Our statements, especially by the ministers. If a BJP leader speaks something, it's okay. But the ministers, like Home Minister and all, they should always keep their tongue in check. He should not be talking unnecessarily about the the Bangladeshis, this, that, and all. It is an insult to them, and if you insult them, it will bounce back. It will be counterproductive for us. Okay, so what is electorally beneficial? Now West Bengal elections are coming. At that time, if you keep quiet, or rather if you control, India-Bangladesh relations will improve. Otherwise, it can be counterproductive. So what I can say is, we have not lost Bangladesh. I mean, it's not the same scenario as Nepal. We have not lost it. But our leadership should be very cautious and sensitive. The most important thing is sensitivity. We should be cautious, we should be sensitive to our neighbors' sentiments, and so that we can still save the situation, we can still save the relationship. And because we have immense potential, and it's also 200 million population also, and huge potential for trade, investment, everything is there. So and our connectivity to northeastern states, in the Look East policy, everywhere Bangladesh can be a major player. And good culture, great civilization, the Bangla civilization, Bangla culture, the art, architecture, the music, dance, so huge. And if Bangladesh is on our side, it is always an asset. It will always be an asset for India. So, and we should not be losing it. So, is Bangladesh growing closer? Is it at the expense of India? We can make it at the expense. But if you work hard, Bangladesh may have an independent relationship with China, and at the same time we can continue our good relationship with India. So both are possible, at least with Bangladesh, and we should not be too sentimental about Chinese. China will try. China has money and they will try. But our policy should be such that we should be, because our cultural connect, our geographical connect, our linkages, It is much, much stronger. So that cannot be broken by some Chinese investment, provided we play our game properly. We should play our cards very carefully. That's all. Okay. So that's about it. So I'll stop here. I wanted to take a couple more topics in Bangla, that I'll take it tomorrow. Okay. So if I am not able to, I was reserving 2 days for international bilateral. Koi baat nahi. So additional things I'll give, and I will upload videos for you. I mean, it's a part of it. So I'll be uploading some material also. Okay, some reading material also, downloadable material, but that will be coming in our app. Okay, that you can download it, right? And questions I did not take up. Tomorrow I'll be taking up some questions. Okay, today I have not. Some people have already written some questions. Unfortunately, I did not take up, and tomorrow I think we will be able to catch up the speed also a bit more. But still, I think how many questions we have seen? Around 15 questions. 14. ठीक है. Not bad. ठीक है. So anyway, tomorrow I will catch up more. I mean, I wanted to do 20 questions. I was thinking of doing India, Australia also today, but I could not do that. Anyway, no problem. We will continue tomorrow. See you then. Bye bye. So same 1 o'clock. Okay, sharp 1 o'clock we will start, and we will do more topics. Many more. I mean, India, Sri Lanka also. Then I will be talking some of the international institutions, UN, that Security Council reform. ठीक है, बहुत है, Quad, then South China Sea. So सब कुछ आएगा अभी. Okay. So we will do fast, but still ठीक है. I mean, my target is around 10 to 12 minutes per topic, but that is not possible every time. See you then. Bye bye.